Chapter 839. Cure and cure, no need, no need. Jun was truly afraid of Yushu now. If someone pointed a gun at him, Jun wouldn't be afraid, but the unknown that he had never experienced before scared him out of his wits. He didn't dare to let Yushu make a prophecy. If Yushu said that he would be hit by a car later, would he still be alive? Jun felt that he shouldn't stay here for long. He didn't think about taking revenge on Yushu because he felt that he couldn't fight back with his own strength. What was this? This was like a deity's manifestation. Otherwise, how could he explain the bouncy ball? Now that he thought about it, the jump balls he hit might have been arranged by the heavens. Otherwise, how could he hit them? When he thought about the strange things on the billiard table, the ball that was obviously weak seemed to have taken stimulants. How could he explain this? He didn't think much of it before, but now that he thought about it, the more he thought about it, the scarier it was. He had been fighting against a deity, how could he win? Now, the old lady was a cripple and she was fine, but he was crippled. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen next. He was so scared that he turned around and ran away with a limp. This place was too scary. After he got home, he needed to ask a few deities to perform a ritual to get rid of the bad luck on him. He didn't think that he was really crippled or had a crooked mouth. He thought that he was possessed by something unknown and he needed to ask a deity to perform a ritual. I know. Little girl, you must be a deity sent by the heavens. Only a fairy would have such a great magical power like yours. The old lady wasn't stupid. How could she not know that it was Yushu's doing when she saw that her sickness was transferred to an evil person in the blink of an eye? How could an ordinary person do such a thing? It must be done by a deity. As a result, the old lady subconsciously treated Yushu as a goddess, and was about to bow to Yushu. Yushu was shocked. How could she let the old lady bow to her? She quickly held on to her. Grandma, please don't do this. It's not my doing. No matter how thick Yushu's skin was, she couldn't pretend to be a deity in front of the old lady. However, how could the old lady believe it? She only believed in what she saw. If it wasn't for Yushu, how would that gangster be punished? How would she be cured? Meng Yao and Yushu had no choice but to leave quickly. The old lady might have to kowtow again later, and they wouldn't be able to handle it. It wasn't until they got in the car that Meng Yao asked Lin Yi curiously. Lin Yi, how did you do that? Yeah, shield bro, how can the old grandma's illness be transferred? Yushu asked curiously. Lin Yi shrugged and started the car. The old lady's illness is just a side effect of a stroke. In other words, it's just a blockage in her meridians. It can be cured with acupuncture. It's just that her family is poor and she hasn't been to the hospital before. Lin Yi was right. The old lady's illness wasn't an illness. It was just a side effect of the blockage in her meridians. Therefore, acupuncture could be used to cure it. However, in order to cure it instantly, Lin Yi had to transfer energy into her meridians. However, Lin Yi didn't tell Meng Yao and Yushu because they wouldn't understand even if he did. What about Jun? How did he suddenly get the same illness as the old lady? Meng Yao knew that Lin Yi was a great doctor. Her poison and General Weiwu's injuries were all cured by Lin Yi. However, it was easy to cure but hard to cure. How did Lin Yi create the illness for Jun? Oh, it's the same principle. I used acupuncture to seal a few of his meridians, Lin Yi explained simply. In fact, he used energy to seal the meridians which caused the current situation. I see. Yushu suddenly understood, there's so much logic in it. Shield bro, what's with the pool? Pure energy, Lin Yi didn't know how to explain it and could only blame it on pure energy. Oh. Yushu knew about pure energy but didn't know much about it. She didn't ask further after hearing Lin Yi's explanation. Jun didn't dare to stay any longer and hurriedly went to find his father, Jun Dazhou. Jun Dazhou was shocked when he saw his son Jun condition. He was still fine when he left the house in the morning. How did he turn into such a miserable state when he got home? What was going on? Dad, today's incident is really strange. I've never encountered such a weird thing. Jun didn't hide anything and told his father everything that happened today. Dad, how is this possible? It doesn't make sense at all. Did he encounter something unclean? That's possible. Jin Dajo was in the business of living on the edge and he was more superstitious. After hearing Jun's words, he also felt that it was unbelievable. Elastic balls and such didn't make sense at all. You mean, those two women might not be humans? Fairies? It's possible. Jun quickly nodded. Those two girls are so beautiful, how can normal people look like that? I've picked up countless girls but I've never seen such a beauty. Now that I think about it, there's something wrong. Jin Dajo took a deep breath and turned to Zhou Tiandi who hadn't spoken a word. Brother Tiandi, what do you think? Zhou Tiandi didn't know the truth and didn't know which deity Jun offended. He was worried that his son, Zhou Ruoguang, was in trouble as well, so he was distracted. I think Brother Dajo's guess is possible. Maybe he encountered something unclean? Brother Tiandi, do you know any deities? Do you want him to do the ritual for Jun? Jin Dajo didn't dare to delay. It was better to solve this problem as soon as possible. However, he didn't even think about going to the hospital because according to Jun's description, this was a sign of being possessed. How could he be sick? Moreover, it's impossible to suddenly have a crooked mouth and limp legs. Who heard of such an acute illness? Chapter 840. How? Okay, money is not a problem. We must get a great deity here as soon as possible. Jin Dajo said. People like him who were involved in the underworld were afraid of very few things. If they were afraid, they wouldn't have done such illegal things. But the more they did guilty things, the more afraid they were of ghosts and deities coming to punish them. That was why Jin Dajo's house had many ghosts and deities. But what he was afraid of was what happened. Something happened as soon as he arrived at Songshan. Jin Dajo's heart ached as he looked at his son's crooked mouth and limp leg. Son, please ask the great deity to protect you and let you return to normal as soon as possible. Okay. Jun prayed in his heart in fear. Zhou Tiandi turned around and left the room. He didn't contact the great deity first and called his son, Zhou Ruoguang. Zhou Tiandi saw Jun leave in anger and didn't dare to chase after him. He decided to let him relax by himself. Zhou Ruoguang wasn't stupid. He was calculating in his heart that since Jun offended Lin Yi, should he stay away from him in the future? He couldn't be friends with this person. He'd be dead if he dragged him into this. Dad, what's wrong? Zhou Ruoguang picked up his father's call. Ruoguang, do you know about Jun? Zhou Tiandi asked. He's possessed. Possessed? What do you mean? Zhou Ruoguang froze. He wanted to tell his father that Jun offended Lin Yi and ask him to stay away from Jun. He didn't want House Zhou to be dragged into this. However, he heard that Jun was possessed. He froze and didn't know what happened. How did he get possessed? Wasn't he fine before? Oh. You don't know? That's right, he got possessed after playing pool. Zhou Tiandi told his son how Jun got possessed and asked, Ruoguang, are you alright? If you're fine, stay away from Jun and don't drag you into this. Dad, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Zhou Ruoguang was even more certain after hearing how Jun was bewitched. The father and son from House Jin should stop messing around with them. They were dead meat for offending Lin Yi. He hurriedly said, Dad, how is he bewitched? Do you know who he offended? Do you know who he played pool with? Oh. Not possessed? Who did he offend? Tiandi paused, feeling like his son knew the truth. I've offended Hayashi Lin. Zhou Ruoguang said in horror, the person who played billiards with him is Hayashi Lin's friend. He made Hayashi Lin unhappy, so he naturally became like this. Dad, didn't you say that Hayashi Lin is omnipotent and omnipotent? Huh? Tiandi was shocked when he heard the name Hayashi Lin. He thought to himself, I was wondering why Jining Jun became like this. He offended Lin Yi. That's normal. If he offended Lin Yi, he wouldn't be able to call himself an immortal anymore. Ruoguang, these Jin's father and son are the bane of our existence. It seems like our discussion with them this time was a failure. I don't want to play with them anymore. Let them figure out their own business with the gambling boats and send them away. Don't drag us into this. Tiandi said decisively. Yeah, that's what I think too. This Jining Jun doesn't know what's good for him. He even wanted to hit on the two girls around Lin Yi. I told him that Lin Yi is very powerful, but he didn't listen. What happened in the end? Did he cause trouble? Zhou Ruoguang sighed. Alright, I got it. That Hayashi Lin didn't vent his anger on you, right? This was what Tiandi feared the most. As for the father and son from House Jin, it had nothing to do with him. No, there was a redhead who offended Hayashi Lin and I taught him a lesson. I could tell that Hayashi Lin was quite satisfied with it. Zhou Ruoguang said carefully. That's good. Tiandi nodded. Alright, I've already done my best by contacting a shaman for Jining Jun. Just send them away. Although Tiandi was stepped on by Lin Yi many times, he still had a lot of connections in Songshan. It didn't take long for him to contact a famous shaman. The shaman's name was Ku and he was quite famous in this area. Anyone who had a wedding or a funeral would ask him to perform a ritual. However, no one could say for sure whether there was a method or not. Some people said that he caught evil spirits with his bare hands, and some said that he could talk to the dead. However, whether this was the case or not, only the evil spirits that were caught and the dead who talked to them knew. After Ku arrived, he started jumping up and down to perform a ritual for Jining Jun. He chanted the spell for 100 times and placed a yellow talisman on the tip of the peachwood sword. He mumbled something and suddenly shouted. He ignited the yellow talisman and extinguished it in a bucket of water. He brought it to Jining Jun and said to Jindajo, Master Jun was possessed by something called a vengeful spirit, that's why he has all these weird symptoms. I've already caught the vengeful spirit, but the evil energy in Master Jun's body can't be dispelled in a short period of time. He must drink holy water for 3 days to recover. Master, thank you for your hard work. Jindajo saw Master Ku baring his fangs and brandishing his claws like Monkey Sunday. Jindajo believed his words. This is the promised incense money. Please don't reject it. Sure. Ku looked at the thickness of the red packet. It was around 50,000 yuan and he smiled as he kept it. Jining Jun drank the water mixed with paper ash. He didn't know if the evil energy was dispelled, but he did have diarrhea. Ever since he drank the bowl of holy water, he started to have diarrhea and it didn't get better even after a whole night. However, Master Ku told him that this was the detoxification stage and he had to expel the evil poison out of his body. Jining Jun thought that his mana was effective and happily stayed in the toilet. The Zhou father and son maintained a cold attitude as they stood on the side. They didn't believe that a shaman could cure the illness that Hayashi Lin created for Jining Jun. However, they didn't say anything. It was fine as long as they knew it in their hearts. Why did they have to listen? What did Jindajo and Jining Jun's life and death have to do with them? What if God Lin finds out and blames the Zhou family? What if he blames them? Chapter 841. Chapter 841, Master Bing's new idea, paper ash mixed with cold water. You're going to shit too. Zhou Tiandi wasn't stupid. Was that something a human could drink? Wouldn't he die if he drank it? You're right. Zhou Ruoguang nodded. I think that Ku is obviously a liar. Only idiots like Jining Jun and his son would give 50,000 yuan. What an idiot. 3 days passed by in the blink of an eye and Jining Jun didn't show any signs of improvement. Instead, He had diarrhea and looked like he was going to faint at any time. Jin Dazhou saw that it wasn't working. His son wasn't getting better at all. Instead, it was getting worse. Hence, he quickly dialed Master Aku's number and wanted to ask him to take another look. However, Master Aku's phone was turned off. At this moment, Jin Dazhou finally realized that he was tricked by Master Aku. However, who could be blamed for this? Although Master Aku was found by Zhou Tiandi said that he didn't know any immortal and could only help. The immortal came with Jin Dazhou's permission before treating Jiningjun. The incense money was also given by Jin Dazhou willingly, so Zhou Tiandi couldn't be blamed for this. Jin Dazhou was furious. Jiningjun was his only son and he doted on him a lot. This time, he came to Songshan to expand his family's business and bring his son along to broaden his horizons. He didn't expect such a disaster to happen. For a time, Jin Dazhou also became a lot more haggard in one night, and the number of white hairs on his head also increased. Zhou Tiandi looked at Jin Dazhou who was sighing and Jiningjun who was in so much pain on the bed. He said sympathetically, "I don't think he's possessed. Should we go to the hospital?" Zhou Tiandi thought that since Lin Yi transferred the old lady's injury to Jiningjun, then Jiningjun must be sick too. What does it have to do with being possessed? This sentence reminded Jin Dazhou. Jin Dazhou rushed to the hospital with his son. After the doctor's examination, they came to a conclusion. Jiningjun's current condition was similar to the sequelae of stroke, epilepsy, and cerebral hemorrhage. There wasn't any immediate treatment for it, so he suggested to go to traditional Chinese massage and acupuncture. After hearing the doctor's words, Jiningjun finally understood that they weren't bewitched. The sequela of the paralyzed old lady was transferred to Jiningjun. Although she didn't know how it was transferred, the disease did run to Jiningjun. Jiningjun wanted to cry but no tears came out. Why? Wasn't it because he kicked that old lady's knitting bag? But she didn't have to be so ruthless, directly transferring her illness to herself. The father and son were very depressed. They were fooled by the shaman, but they found out that the truth was not the case at all. Moreover, this disease was not easy to treat. The Chinese medicine hospital's explanation was also very simple. No one could guarantee a complete cure. This kind of sequela could only be treated. Maybe it could be alleviated, and there might be a miracle. After the examination, Jiningjun's meridians were not normal blocked. His condition was different from the old lady's. The old lady's condition was real sequela, but Jiningjun's was a disease created by Lin Yi's energy. The condition of the blocked meridians was also different from normal sequela. In other words, Jiningjun's body looked normal on the surface, but his meridians were blocked by a strange force. This made the Chinese medicine hospital's doctors feel strange. When they asked about Jiningjun's medical history, Jiningjun was too embarrassed to say that he was cursed by the gods and could only answer vaguely. However, the more it was like this, the more the doctors couldn't find a suitable solution. They could only let him treat it first. Treat it? How could Jin Dazhou let the doctors treat him? He only had one son and now he became like this. If he didn't cure him, what was the use of having a huge family business without anyone to inherit it? Thus, Jin Dazhou panicked and asked Zhou Tiandi to investigate the upper class of Songshan City to see if there was a miracle doctor who could cure Jiningjun's condition. Jin Dazhou was willing to pay 1 million as a reward. Jin Dazhou was really panicking, otherwise he wouldn't take out so much money. He brought Jiningjun to many specialists but none of them had a good treatment plan for Jiningjun's condition. There were big hospitals and private clinics, but they all said they would treat him. No one promised that they could cure him. The cooperation between Jin Dazhou and Zhou Tiandi was temporarily put on hold. In fact, Zhou Tiandi was happy to see this. He didn't dare to have anything to do with the Jin father and son anymore. These two unlucky bastards offended Lin Yi and caused such a huge disaster. How could he cooperate with them? Dream on. However, Zhou Tiandi was unhappy that since the Jin father and son didn't want to cooperate, they should just leave. Why were they still here? Didn't Donghai also have great doctors? Why did they have to stay in Songsan City? In fact, Zhendazhou still had some superstitious thoughts in his heart. He thought that since Zheningjuan's problem happened in Songsan City, there must be a solution in Songsan City. There was a cycle of cause and effect. This was the reason why he insisted on staying in Songsan City temporarily. In the floating cloud bar, Sihua reported the recent happenings in Songsan to the wheelchair-bound Xiao Qibing. The demolition went smoothly, and the residents of the slums happily moved away after receiving the compensation. It was just that the compensation was a little too much for them to pay. After reporting about the demolition, Sihua told Xiao Qibing about what happened to the Jin father and son from Donghai and how they asked for help. He didn't expect Xiao Qibing's eyes to light up after hearing it. He said he's going to pay 1 million as a reward. This business seems to be quite profitable. That's true. After all, life is more important than money. Sihua nodded and said, and I heard that Zheningjuan's illness is quite strange. He got it because he offended Lin Yi. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world, especially when Zhou Tiandi and Zhou Ruoguang knew about it. There was no need to keep it a secret. In the upper class of Songsan City, everyone basically knew that Zheningjuan offended Lin Yi and got what he deserved. Who was Lin Yi? He was the ruthless person who crippled Xiao Qibing and pushed down Qibing's skyscraper. Those young masters with a high status all knew about this, but they didn't dare to bring it up because of Xiao Qibing's power. Chapter 842. Master Bing's wisdom, he got it because he offended Lin Yi? What does that mean? Did Lin Yi create his illness for him? Yao Wang held a grudge against Lin Yi. He always thought that if he claimed to be the second best in the world of medicine, no one would dare to claim to be the first. Previously, he thought that Lin Yi recovered quickly because of Guan Xuemin's help. Yao Wang also thought that Guan Xuemin was the one who solved the poisoning incident in the school, so he wanted to compete with him. But after Li Dilei's incident, Yao Wang realized that it wasn't what he thought. Lin Yi was the hidden medical master behind the scenes. Everything was caused by Lin Yi. I'm not sure about that, but the situation was really weird. Sihua recounted the situation, his hair standing on end. It was said that in a split second, the old lady's illness was transferred to Zheningjuan. It's really weird. I don't know if it's true or not, or if it's just a rumor or something else. Sihua said as he recounted the situation to Zheningjuan. It said that in a split second, the old lady's illness was transferred to Zheningjuan. It sounds really weird. I don't know if it's true or not, a rumor or something. The old lady's illness was transferred to Zheningjuan? Yao Wang didn't quite believe Sihua's words. You're saying that the old lady had hemiplegia and her crooked mouth and lame legs were transferred to Zheningjuan all of a sudden? Is that so? That's what I heard. Sihua nodded. Logically speaking, that's impossible, Yao Wang sighed. Yao Wang thought for a moment and said, however, it's possible if you have high medical skills. However, you don't have to transfer it. Instead, you have to cure the old lady's illness first and then create the same illness on Zheningjuan. One is to cure the illness, and the other is to control it. It seems to be a transfer, but that's just an outsider's understanding. Hiss. Sihua sucked in a cold breath. In such a short period of time, Lin Yi cured one and controlled another? I can do that too. The king pharmacist snorted and said with some conceit, I, the king pharmacist, am not best at healing, but at harming people. This kind of insignificant skill is nothing to me. I see, I thought there was something wrong with this whole thing, but after Yao Wang's explanation, I see. Sihua nodded. Forget it, let's not talk about him anymore. Since that's the case, let's not talk about him. Master Bing, about the demolition of the orphanage. Wait, let's put the orphanage aside first. I've thought of a better way to make money. Xiao Qibing waved his hand. When he heard that Zhendazhou invested 1 million to treat Zheningjuan's illness, he started to plan this. Treating illnesses is quite profitable now. Look at that miracle Dr. Guan. People are thanking him profusely for treating people's illnesses. Why don't we start treating people as well? Those rich people are all very rich, and nothing is more important than their lives. We can also treat them and make money. Master Bing is wise. Siwa heard Master Bing's words and thought that this was indeed a way to make money, but he didn't know if Yao Wang would cooperate. He turned around and looked at Yao Wang. I'm sent by the head of the house to assist Master Bing. I, Yao Wang, will do whatever Master Bing says. Yao Wang didn't think much of it. No matter what he did, he would serve House Xiao, so it didn't matter to him. He just felt that the price was a little low. With his skills, was it only worth 1 million to treat an illness? He said in a roundabout way, Master Bing, but we can increase the price of the treatment, of course. If I were to earn 1 million, how long would it take? Zhao Qibing laughed and said sinisterly, isn't Yao Wang the best at harming people? That's easy, we'll treat him and charge him 1 million, but we won't cure him. We'll transfer his illness to another place and let him come to us for treatment. That way, we'll be rolling in money, won't we? Of course, we have to do it discreetly, we can't let them see through us. That's brilliant, really brilliant. Siwa said in admiration, Master Bing, you're really smart, coming up with such an evil plan. I didn't even think of it. Of course, don't we have a miracle Dr. Guan, Dr. Kong or something like that? We'll have a Zhao Yao Wang, and once we make a name for ourselves, we'll have as much money as we want. Zhao Qibing said proudly. Master Bing's idea is quite feasible. Yao Wang didn't object. He was a sinister person, healing and harming people was his forte. This way, the profit from one patient wouldn't be as simple as 1 million. Medical skills could save lives, but it could also harm people. Medical practitioners were proficient in the structure of the human body. This was especially so for TCM practitioners. They could even create illnesses through certain means. Nowadays, most doctors studied medicine to save people. Even if there were some who only cared about profits and worked for money, they would still save people after receiving the money. But there were also some who weren't like that. They studied medicine not to save people, but to harm people. These people were originally close officials of the royal court and some nobles. They created illnesses so that some princes and officials could lie to the emperor and hide from the limelight. For example, if there were 2 factions fighting in the court, and the princes or the prime minister didn't want to get involved, they would claim to be sick to avoid it. Naturally, the emperor wouldn't believe them and would send the royal doctors to investigate. At this time, these people would play their role, creating fake illnesses to deceive the royal doctors. But as the dynasty changed, some of these people followed the fallen nobles and scattered among the people. They set up their own shops and began to walk among the rich, treating these rich people. But these people used to earn a lot of money from the noble families, and the medical fees weren't enough to satisfy their desires. So, these people started to treat some rich people, but they would never be cured. They would always have a backup plan, and they would keep collecting high medical fees until the rich person's money was drained. Then, they would cure all the illnesses according to their mood, or they would just ignore them and let them die. Chapter 843. The Jin family seeks medical treatment. However, he still had the ability to cure illnesses, so he agreed to Qibing's suggestion. Go spread the news that Yao Wang is starting to make house calls, specializing in solving difficult and complicated illnesses. Qibing said, of course, you have to reveal that Yao Wang is the private doctor of a hidden house. Okay, Master Bing, I understand. Siwa nodded. Qibing's way of earning money was not bad, and there was no danger involved. Now, tell me about the orphanage. Why, is there a problem? Qibing asked. It's like this, after we went there last time, wasn't the old dean a golden class master? I was thinking of asking Yao Wang to come out and scare the old dean into giving us the orphanage's territory. Sihua said. There's no rush. You can handle Yao Wang's house calls first. After all, we'll be able to see the money soon. It'll take some time to demolish the orphanage. Qibing said. Okay, Zihua nodded and went out to spread the news. Jin Dazhou asked Zhou Tiandi to find out about the miracle doctors who served the rich. He felt that normal doctors couldn't cure Zhen Ningjuan's illness anymore. Only miracle doctors could. Heaven rewarded those who worked hard. Jin Dazhou didn't think that House Zhao's private doctor would make house calls so soon. As one of the reputable people in East Ocean City, Jin Dazhou naturally knew some news about the hidden aristocratic family, the Zhao family, who was entrenched in East Ocean City. However, people like him didn't have the chance to interact with the Zhao family. Even so, he knew that the Zhao family was a very powerful existence. When he heard that House Zhao's private doctor made house calls, he quickly sent Zhen Ningjun over. From his perspective, House Zhao's private doctor must be much better than the doctors outside. And so, Zhen Ningjun became Yao Wang's first patient. What's going on? Yao Wang glanced at Zhen Ningjun, whose face was crooked and legs were cramping. He pretended that he didn't know anything and asked faintly. My son, Zhen Ningjun, I don't know why, but he was possessed and became like this. Jin Dazhou thought that there was no need to talk about the process of his son's illness. He might as well talk about the illness. What's your son's name? Zhen Ningjun. Ha, he's really handsome. Zhao Qibing couldn't help but chuckle when he saw Zhen Ningjuan's current appearance. How was he handsome at all? Jin Dazhou knew Zhao Qibing. He knew that he was a famous young master in Donghai City. He had heard of his background as a hidden noble house, so when he saw Yao Wang beside him, he didn't suspect anything. He trusted Yao Wang wholeheartedly and sincerely allowed him to treat him. He didn't dare to get angry when he saw Qibing laughing. He smiled bitterly. My son used to be quite spirited, but now he can't even go out and meet people. Everyone laughs like Master Bing when they hear his name. Zhao Qibing couldn't help but laugh, but he regretted it after laughing. He was trying to get money from Dazhou, how could he piss him off? But after hearing Dazhou's words, Zhao Qibing breathed a sigh of relief. This Dazhou was quite smart, he knew when to advance and retreat. He said, Yao Wang, why don't you take a look at him? Yao Wang nodded and glanced at Zhen Ningjun. He understood the problem after a brief examination. Lin Yi's treatment was simple. He only used pure energy to seal a few of Zhen Ningjuan's acupoints. Even without treatment, he would recover in 8 to 10 years. Of course, Yao Wang couldn't say this out loud. It can be treated, but it's very complicated. Yao Wang pretended to be profound and said to Dazhou. Mr. Medicine King, I beg you, please cure my son's illness. As long as you can cure Ningjuan's illness, just tell me your conditions and I will do my best. Jin Dazhou was overjoyed when he heard that the Medicine King could cure his son. He had seen many doctors and they were all helpless. Zhen Ningjuan's illness isn't an illness, nor is he possessed. Someone did something to him, Yao Wang said indifferently. This isn't a normal sequela of a stroke. Although it looks similar, there's a world of difference between them. Jin Dazhou couldn't help but nod after hearing Yao Wang's words. Someone did something to him? No wonder normal hospitals couldn't do anything. Ah! Someone did something to him? Zhen Ningjun was shocked. He suddenly remembered that the person named Lin Yi patted him a few times and he fell sick after that. Could it be that he did it at that time? He couldn't help but exclaim, yes. It must be Lin Yi's doing. Dad, I know. Lin Yi? Yao Wang pretended to be surprised after hearing Lin Yi's name. What did you say? Lin Yi did something to you? Yes. What's wrong? Zhen Ningjun froze. Yao Wang, do you know this person named Lin Yi? Jin Dazhou didn't think that his son had been tampered with because it sounded a little unbelievable, so when his son talked about the process, Jin Dazhou didn't pay much attention. But now that Yao Wang said that his son was done to him and that he knew the person his son suspected, he couldn't help but ask. Of course I know him. Yao Wang nodded. This Lin Yi is a medical expert. He's good at saving people, but he's also good at harming people. How could I not know him? Ah. Fuck, so it was Lin Yi's doing. I'm going to kill him. Jun was furious after knowing the truth. Zhao Qibing sneered at the side. You want to kill him? Who do you think you are? I wanted Lin Yi dead for a long time, but now my leg is broken, Uncle Zhu is bedridden, the building collapsed, I lost money, but Lin Yi is still alive and kicking. But Zhao Qibing didn't say it. He didn't mind the father and son of Jun looking for trouble with Lin Yi. Even if they couldn't kill Lin Yi, it was good to make Lin Yi suffer. Zhen Dazhou coughed and glared at his son. Even if you want to take revenge, you have to wait until you're better. Can't you tell which is more important? Zhen Dazhou stopped his son and turned to Yao Wang. Yao Wang, between you and that Lin Yi, who's more powerful? Humph, I can cure the illness he created. Who do you think is more powerful? Yao Wang didn't answer the question directly. Chapter 844. The treatment gets worse, sure, but I can tell you the theory behind it, Yao Wang said. You've heard of pure energy, right? Other than us ordinary people, there are some practitioners who can use pure energy. Of course I've heard of it. My relative is also a mystic division master. Zhen Dazhou nodded, but it was more or less an exaggeration. That mystic division master wasn't his relative at all, but someone he hired to deal with an enemy. It was just a relationship of interest. Oh, it's easy now that you've heard of it. Yao Wang continued. Lin Yi used pure energy to seal Zheningjuan's meridians, causing them to be blocked. That's why he's in such a condition. It looks like the sequela of a stroke, but it's actually not. It's more complicated than a stroke. I see. Zhen Dazhou listened to Yao Wang's explanation and became even more nervous. Then how do I cure it? I can only use my acupuncture and my true qi to neutralize it one by one. But it consumes a lot of my energy and it's not something that can be cured in a day, so the process is more complicated. Yao Wang sighed. To be honest, it's not easy to treat this patient. Yao Wang, you have to save my son. If you don't do anything, what will happen to Jun in the future? Although his crooked mouth and crippled leg won't affect his life, it'll be a joke if he goes out. Zhen Dazhou panicked. We can discuss the consultation fee. Can you please do me a favor? Because I have some history with Lin Yi, and your son is the first patient I've ever seen, so I'll just have to help him. Yao Wang said, but let's make this clear, I'm not a charity and I'll take a certain fee. Let's set the fee at 1 million per visit. Okay. Zhen Dazhou nodded quickly. 1 million per visit wasn't a lot. His son's condition was too complicated, even 10 million couldn't cure him. Alright, since you've agreed, I'll transfer the Zhenqi in your son's body today. I'll transfer it from his legs to his hands, and from his mouth to his ears. This way, one of his ears will be crooked, and one of his hands will be useless. On the surface, he'll look like a normal person. As for your ears and hands, I will slowly dissolve them for you. Medicine King said. Alright, that would be great. When Zhen Dazhou heard this, he realized that it was possible to transfer his true qi. After transferring it, it wouldn't be too obvious. That was great. His ears and hands could slowly recover in the future. As long as his appearance looked like a normal person, it would be fine. Alright, since you've agreed, I'll start the treatment now. The Yao Wang nodded, took out the silver needles, and prepared to start the treatment. In fact, Lin Yi was only punishing him lightly. Lin Yi didn't want to create a complicated disease, so Yao Wang could easily solve it. Yao Wang's so-called transfer was to heal Zheningjuan's mouth and legs, then use the same method to seal the meridians around his ears and hands. It sounded like a diversion, but in fact, it was to create an opportunity for him to make money next time. Or else, 1 million was a little too little. Yao Wang had already set a goal to squeeze at least 10 million from Zheningjuan. Soon, under Yao Wang's acupuncture, Zheningjuan's mouth and legs returned to normal. However, one of his ears was deaf and one of his hands couldn't feel anything. However, these problems were hidden and couldn't be seen on the surface. Zheningjuan and Zhen Dazhou were naturally grateful to Yao Wang. After paying the fees, they agreed on the next time and left happily. Looking at the father and son from House Jun leaving, a cold smile appeared on Zhao Qibing's face. Two idiots, just wait to give me money. Master Bing, I've decided to get 10 million from the father and son from House Jun. What do you think? Yao Wang told Zhao Qibing his idea. 10 million? So little? Zhao Qibing frowned. I heard that Jin Dazhou is very rich. His assets are over 100 million. You should get at least half of it, right? 50 million. Hiss. Yao Wang was shocked. Master Bing was a ruthless man. He was even more ruthless than him. He thought that 10 million was a lot, but Master Bing asked for 50 million straight away. However, Yao Wang couldn't understand why Jin Yingjuan's problems were worth 50 million. He couldn't help but ask, Master Bing, 1 million for one time and 10 times for 10 times, isn't that a lot? Are you stupid? Zhao Qibing glared at him. Can't you make more problems when you treat him? This shouldn't be a problem for you, right? Do you need me to teach you this? Jin Yingjun is a man who enjoys alcohol and women. If you make him impotent, let's see if he'll ask for help with a lot of money. If you're afraid of suspicion, then just do it to Jin Dazhou and make that old man's sexual function fail. I understand, Master Bing. Yao Wang heard Zhao Qibing's words and was enlightened. Even a black-hearted doctor like him wasn't as black-hearted as Master Bing. Master Bing was too black-hearted. Almost all the famous people in Songshan knew that Jin Yingjun had a strange disease. It caused a huge commotion, and it wasn't a secret that Jin Dazhou asked Zhou Tiandi to search for a doctor. However, the news that Jin Yingjuan's disease was cured by a new Zhao Yao Wang shocked everyone. In the past, everyone in Songshan knew that Guan Shuamin was a miracle doctor. They didn't expect that there would be another Zhao Yao Wang who seemed to be even better than Guan Shuamin. Everyone saw Jin Yingjuan's condition. His mouth was crooked and his legs were lame. They went to the hospital for a checkup, but there was nothing they could do. However, after Zhao Yao Wang injected a few needles, a miracle happened. Jin Yingjuan's legs were no longer lame and his mouth was no longer crooked. Jin Dazhou didn't want to tell others that he was deaf and couldn't feel his hands. He only said that his son was cured. This way, it was an advertisement for Zhao Yao Wang. In an instant, everyone knew that there was a Zhao Yao Wang in Songshan. His medical skills were incredible and he was even better than Miracle Dr. Guan. As a result, Zhao Yao Wang's fame spread like wildfire. In the future, when the rich and famous people wanted to see a doctor, the first person they thought of was Zhao Yao Wang. After all, Zhao Yao Wang had cured someone before. Jin Yingjun was indeed alive and kicking now. Chapter 846. Chapter 0845, Hiring a Spokesperson. What does Zhao Qibing want to do? Could it be that he learned how to make money from you? Fatty Lai asked curiously. I'm afraid he lost a lot of money recently. He didn't have the initiative in the slums area, so he probably won't be able to make much money. So, it's understandable that he's thinking of other ways to make money. Lin Yi could guess Zhao Qibing's intentions, that Yao Wang, he does have a way to treat people. This kind of thing has nothing to do with us. Yeah, let's ignore him then. It has nothing to do with us for now. Fatty Lai nodded. No matter how Zhao Qibing acted, as long as he didn't provoke Lin Yi, it wouldn't matter. Lin Yi just laughed it off because there were more important things waiting for him. The first batch of products from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was about to hit the market. Let's not talk about him. Didn't you call me here to talk about the product? Lin Yi had a lot of free time these few days. Tang Yun's problem was solved. He didn't know whether Zhong Pingliang and Zhang Wen were discharged or not, and Zhao Qibing had quieted down quite a bit. Zhou Ruoming fawned on Lin Yi even more than when he saw his own father. This made Lin Yi relax for a few days. Other than accompanying Miss and Shu to and from school, he would only see Tang Yun during breaks. His days were peaceful and leisurely. This was the life that Lin Yi yearned for. There were no conflicts every day, and he could protect the people he loved, quietly savoring the little things in life. Lin Yi didn't know how long these days would last. If it was possible, Lin Yi hoped that it would last forever. However, although life was peaceful and it made Lin Yi feel comfortable, Lin Yi still kept his guard up. Yu Kun went back. No matter what, Lin Yi had a feeling that he was leaving a threat behind. It was just that House Yu hadn't made any moves yet. As for Zhao Qibing, Lin Yi didn't believe that he would just let it go like this. Who knew if he would come up with some weird tricks to deal with him? Yes, the first batch of our injury medicine is ready and can be launched at any time. Fatty Lai said, however, when our company opened, we didn't hold any ceremony. Although Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is quite famous outside, we still need to hold a product launch for the release of a new product. Press conference? Why is it so troublesome? Lin Yi didn't think that launching a product into the market required such a complicated process. Yeah, it's just a way to show the company's strength. It's just like Qibing Real Estate Company's building completion ceremony. Fatty Lai was an expert in business, so it was natural for him to be able to make sense of it. It's just that we ruined his completion ceremony. If that's the case, then it's up to you. Lin Yi felt that he wasn't doing his job as a hands-off boss. He knew nothing about business. If it weren't for Fatty Lai, a follower he'd met halfway, it would have been hard for him and Xuemin to run the company. Alright, then I've decided. Fatty Lai nodded, because our company's publicity is almost done. Now is the best time to go public. Once our product is launched, there will be a lot of media outlets promoting us for free. But, according to the usual practice of many companies, they usually hire celebrities to boost the popularity of their new product launch. Celebrities? You know them? Lin Yi wasn't interested in celebrities and he didn't watch TV. To him, celebrities weren't as cute as the girls at home. I don't know. Fatty Lai smiled bitterly, but money makes the world go round. As long as we're willing to pay, it's easy to hire a spokesperson. Oh, it's up to you then, Lin Yi shrugged and said indifferently. Then, boss, do you have any good candidates in mind? Fatty Lai knew that many companies hired celebrities to be their spokesperson not only to bring popularity to their products, but also because the boss of the company was a fan of the celebrity. So, Fatty Lai wanted to ask Lin Yi which celebrity he liked. Candidate? Lin Yi paused. He didn't know any celebrities, so how could he know? But suddenly, a name popped up in his head. Is there a celebrity called Su Shihan? Lin Yi remembered buying Su Shihan's album for Miss and Shu. He also saw Miss and Shu watching her concert in the villa. She was quite an eye candy, jumping around on the stage. But he didn't know if she would still look good after removing her makeup. Ah, yes. Fatty Lai was shocked when he heard the name. He nodded. Boss, Su Shihan is a top singer, Fatty Lai calculated in his heart. How much would it cost to hire Su Shihan to be their spokesperson? Su Shihan was super popular right now. A lot of middle school students were her fans. Her status must be high. But since it was Lin Yi who suggested it, Fatty Lai didn't say anything. He just had to try his best. Oh, then invite her. Lin Yi didn't think that Su Shihan was powerful, so he didn't think much of it. He only heard that Miss, Shu, and Tang Yun were her fans. Lin Yi just wanted to invite them to have some fun. As for Lin Yi himself, he didn't even look at celebrities in detail. Naturally, he wasn't her fan. Okay, I'll try my best. Fatty Lai nodded and noted it down. Oh right, boss, are you going to the product launch? Me? I'll pass. Lin Yi shook his head. This medical company was just for fun. Lin Yi wanted to use it to earn some pocket money. But as his friendship with Miss Shu deepened, Lin Yi didn't feel like he was living under someone else's roof anymore. Although, Lin Yi didn't know if it counted as friendship. Anyway, Missy didn't look down on him anymore. Furthermore, Missy was someone who didn't care much about money. So now that the medical company was established, it was a public service. It was impossible to earn money in a short period of time. The price of the medicine was set low, so it could compete with Dr. Kang's golden creation. Fatty Lai knew that Lin Yi always kept a low profile, so he asked before. Since Lin Yi didn't want to participate, he didn't force him. He continued, "Boss, about Kong Xiaobo and fun, I've arranged it like this. What do you think?" Chapter 847. Company of Swindlers, Kong Xiaobo. I've arranged for him to be the company's intern vice president, mainly in charge of marketing, Fatty Lai said. The current executive vice president in charge of marketing is a friend of mine, and he's only here to help out. With him guiding Kong Xiaobo, I believe it won't take long for him to graduate as an apprentice. Alright, I'll leave it to you. Lin Yi didn't expect Fatty Lai to arrange things so well, and it surprised Lin Yi. As for Xiaofan, I'll arrange for her to work in the quality inspection department, but the position of quality inspection manager is empty at the moment. It won't be too late to arrange for her to be the manager after she gets used to it, Fatty Lai explained. You've thought it through. Lin Yi was a classic example of nepotism, but whether it was Kong Xiaobo or Xiaofan, they wouldn't become arrogant because of this relationship. Although Kong Xiaobo was Lin Yi's follower, wasn't the company's general manager Fatty Lai also Lin Yi's follower? With Kong Xiaobo's grades, he wouldn't be able to get into any university, at most a third-rate one. It wasn't because he didn't study hard, but because Kong Xiaobo wasn't talented enough. He wasn't as smart as the Miss and Yushu, and he didn't have much of a heart. No matter how hard he studied, he could only maintain a below-average standard. Songshan Songshan was a good school, but that didn't mean that every student could get into a famous university. Students like Xiaobo, who weren't good at studying, could get into a better university if they had some connections or money, but those who didn't have any connections or money could only get into a third-rate university. Kong Xiaobo had thought things through a while ago, so he decided to put his studies aside and put his energy into managing the company. He could just get into a third-rate university to pass his time, and when the company had some results, he could study for an MBA or something. It wasn't a bad way out. Evidently, Kung Fu and Kong Mu had thought it through as well. What was the point of studying hard for 10 years? Wasn't it just a good job in the future? Now, he had a job, and it was a deputy general manager. In this day and age, even if you were a PhD student who had returned from abroad, without any experience or connections, it was impossible to give you a deputy general manager position. After Lin Yi left, Fatty Lai started looking for connections and connections. The contact information of the celebrities in the entertainment industry might be a secret to the common people, but it wasn't the same for the rich businessmen. They were always looking for endorsements, and the entertainment companies were more than willing to work with them. Fatty Lai quickly found the entertainment company Su Shihan belonged to and contacted her manager. Needless to say, the manager of a superstar like Su Shihan was very arrogant. She picked up the phone and hurriedly asked, "Who are you? What's the matter?" The way she spoke made Fatty Lai frown, but he still said patiently, "Hello, I'm from a company, and I want to cooperate with Miss Su Shihan." The manager's tone softened a little after hearing that Fatty Lai was from a company, but it was still cold. "Which company are you from? What kind of strength? Why would you want to collaborate with Miss Su? Are you attending an event or endorsing a product?" The manager couldn't be blamed for being cold. There were a lot of people calling to harass Su Shihan, and the manager couldn't be more annoyed every day. Before confirming the identity of the person calling, she couldn't let her guard down. "Hello, I'm the CEO of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Lai Chani. I'm looking for Miss Su Shihan to endorse our company's product, and also to attend a new product launch." Fatty Lai could see that the manager was a straightforward person, so he didn't waste any time and said his purpose directly. "Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company?" The manager was startled and asked, "Is it Guan Shuamin's company?" "Yes. Miracle Dr. Guan is Guan Shuamin." Fatty Lai nodded. It seemed like the manager knew about his company. "Guan Shuamin's company, isn't it a scammer company?" "What Miracle Dr. Guan, it's a scammer." The manager's tone turned nasty, and before Fatty Lai could say anything, he hung up the phone with a bang. Do. Fatty Lai looked at the phone and didn't know if he should laugh or cry. How did Guan Xuemin become a scammer? His own company, how did it become a scammer company? When did he offend Su Shihan's manager? Wang Sis, why are you talking so loudly? Why are you calling him a scammer? A heavenly voice sounded from behind Sister Wang. A girl wearing a bathrobe, with fair skin and a slight blush, walked over. She looked like a fairy who had just come out of the bath. Her hair was still wet, and it was casually scattered. Her pretty face didn't have the slightest bit of makeup on, but she still looked very lovely. She was the superstar Su Shihan, who had countless fans and was the idol of many middle school and university students. But at this moment, she didn't act like a superstar at all. She walked behind the manager like a mischievous girl and bent down to look at her phone, wanting to see who she was calling. Han, are you feeling better? Wang Sis's cold expression changed, and a concerned expression appeared on her face as she turned to look at Su Shihan. I'm fine. Su Shihan shook her head and smiled sweetly. Wang Sis, don't worry about me. Right, you haven't told me yet? What happened before? Also, Wang Sis, why is your temper so bad these days? You're always so cold when you pick up the phone. It's not that I'm cold, but there are some entertainment reporters who always pretend to be fans and collaborators, spying on this and that. It's annoying me. Wang Sis sighed. Looks like I'll have to change the phone number after a while. Too many people know this number. But, what if it's really a call to collaborate? Su Shihan nodded and asked. I can tell with just a few words whether it's a collaboration or not. Some people have too much money and purposely call to have fun. Our Han isn't that kind of person. If you want to chase after a celebrity, go find someone else. Wang Sis had been a manager for a few years, and she had a pair of sharp eyes. The companies that could really afford to collaborate with Su Shihan were all big and famous companies, not some unknown small company. Chapter 848. The celebrity's strange illness. When she grew up and entered the entertainment industry, it was Wang Sis who acted as her manager, shielding her from the wind and rain. Although Wang Sis wasn't her real sister, in Su Shihan's eyes, she was more or less like a real sister. Now that she was earning money, Su Shihan would always split the income into two, one under Wang Sis's name. Although Wang Sis didn't want it, Su Shihan still insisted. No, it's a scammer company. Wang Sis shook her head. It's that Guan Xuemin, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. It's been hyped up on TV and newspapers recently, but it's actually a scammer. Su Shihan heard Wang Sis's words and couldn't help but smile helplessly. Wang Sis, Elder Guan is an expert in the medical world. How can he be a scammer? If he's not a scammer, then why can't he cure your illness? After acupuncture for so long, there's no improvement at all. He even said that he could cure it. Wang Sis said with disdain. You can't say that, so many hospitals couldn't cure it either, right? It's just that my illness is a bit strange. Su Shihan didn't think that Guan Xuemin was a scammer, since her situation was too complicated. Forget it, we have to have a conscience when we're endorsers. If he can't even cure your illness, how can he call himself a miracle doctor? We can't just let you lie with your eyes wide open, right? Wang Sis said indifferently. Su Shihan heard Wang Sis's words and couldn't help but smile and shake her head. It's not like there aren't such celebrities. Fake endorsements, there's a lot of them nowadays. I think I should call Master Guan and apologize to him. He was very attentive when he treated me. Do what you want, this kind of scammer, why bother with him? Wang Sis was a person who had a clear distinction between love and hate. She had a very strong personality, unlike Su Shihan, who was pure and didn't have complicated thoughts. However, for someone like Su Shihan, if it wasn't for Wang Sis, her manager, she would definitely be at a disadvantage. Su Shihan smiled and picked up the phone. She found the number and called Xuemin, but his phone was turned off. She could only put this matter aside for now, Fatty Lai didn't manage to invite Su Shirhan, so he quickly called Lin Yi, but Lin Yi didn't think much of it. He heard that Su Shirhan's manager was a cocky one, so he gave up on the idea of finding a spokesperson. Jiang Wen didn't have a good time these days. The pressure from his family and the Fire Wolf gang made it hard for him to breathe. Fortunately, before the kidney trafficking organization was destroyed, Jiang Wen had earned a lot of money for his family and the Fire Wolf gang. Jiang Wen's brother, Enchanting, was in charge of organ trafficking in Songshan. Although he didn't get into any trouble, he had to spend money to buy kidneys. The turnover was small, and the cost was high. So, his annual profit wasn't even as much as Jiang Wen's monthly profit. This was also the reason why the Fire Wolf gang and Housen didn't take Jiang Wen back. Jiang Wen was quite arrogant and unscrupulous, but one had to admit that he was an expert at making money. He'd made tens of millions of profit in 1 month, and even the leader of the Fire Wolves North had to look at him in a different light. At this moment, Jiang Wen was lying on the sofa, receiving a call from his father. Jiang Wen, you're still too young. You're too reckless this time. Jiang Wen's father, and Mingyue, said seriously. Look at your cousin, he's been in Songshan for a year, and although his results aren't as good as yours, he's stable. Isn't he being used by the Fire Wolf gang now? Dad, I'm just trying to show Grandpa and the Fire Wolf gang what I want, right? Our family, ever since I left the country, the business in the north has been handed over to my uncle. Our family's position in Housen and the Fire Wolf gang has been plummeting. Jiang Wen said bitterly. Idiot. I may have given up on the business in the north, and I'm now the liaison between the house and the Fire Wolf gang. It may seem like I'm not as glorious as your uncle, but in reality, every transaction with the Fire Wolf gang comes from your father. And Mingyue said. Otherwise, why do you think the Fire Wolf gang would put you in charge of the business in Songshan when you just came back? As for your brother, is he really valued by the Fire Wolf gang? He's only going to the border to deal with the drug dealers. It looks like he's making a lot of money, but do you know how dangerous it is? Which one of those foreign drug dealers isn't a murderer who kills without blinking an eye? I understand, Dad, I was too reckless. Jiang Wen thought about his father's words and felt that it was true. But the organ smuggling business won't last long. And Jinda had already attracted the police's attention when he started it. It's fine if it's stopped now. You've made quite a lot of money for the Fire Wolf gang, so we'll let this go. And Mingyue said. Fortunately, the head of the Fire Wolf gang's northern branch is a cruel man. He likes your unscrupulous way of making money, and with me coming back from the middle, he finally agreed to give you a new job. What? A new job? That's great. Jiang Wen was overjoyed when he heard his father's words. He was still thinking about what he should do in the future. How was he going to pursue Meng Yao without a kidney and a career? Now, a new career had arrived so quickly. Yeah, the most profitable business is prostitution, drugs, and organ smuggling. As for the sex industry, there are local gangsters everywhere. We shouldn't interfere. And Mingyue said. As for drug trafficking, your cousin is already in it. What you need to do now is gambling. Oh. You want me to build a casino? Jiang Wen could roughly guess his father's intention. Yes, but not a normal casino. It's an underground boxing ring. And Mingyue said. Normal casinos are also controlled by local gangsters. It's not good for us to interfere. That's why we're doing the boxing business. Not only can we sell the tickets, but we can also bet on the outcome of the fights. It's a very profitable business. No problem, leave it to me. I'll do it well this time. Jiang Wen nodded. But I don't have anyone else I can use. The tattooed guy already took the blame for me. Chapter 849. Jiang Wen's kidney transplant. Don't worry, father, I know what I'm doing. But can you send me another person who can run errands? Otherwise, these two won't be able to help me take care of things. Jiang Wen wasn't an idiot. One was a fighter, and the other was a doctor. They were both important figures in the fire wolves, and so he couldn't just use them as scapegoats. The kidney trafficking company had taught him a lesson. He had to have a backup plan. He was lucky enough to escape this time, but he had to be more careful next time. He had to prepare a scapegoat for his crimes. Otherwise, the next person to go to jail would be him. Of course, you don't have to worry about that. And Mingyue smiled. I've found a suitable candidate. He's a wanted criminal, and he only has a junior high schooler at home. He can help you. How could Mingyue not know what his son was thinking? Plus, he didn't want anything to happen to Jiang Wen, so he had to arrange everything in advance. Oh, so this person doesn't have anything to worry about? Jiang Wen asked quickly. Nope, he only has a junior high schooler at home. After he committed the crime, he lied to his brother, saying that he went overseas to work. And Mingyue said, I've already sent some money to his brother a few days ago, saying that his brother won't be back for a while. That's good. Jiang Wen nodded. Leave this arena to me. I'll make it great for you. Jiang Wen hung up the phone. He was very excited. The second spring of his career was about to come. He thought that he would be neglected by the fire wolves for a while, but it seemed like his father's relationship with the fire wolves wasn't just a shallow one. But when he thought about the fact that the fire wolves sent a mystic early phase peak wasn't going to be his bodyguard or fighter, Jiang Wen felt a little depressed. How great would it be if this person was his subordinate, then he could be arrogant and tyrannical in Songshan City again. In fact, Jiang Wen didn't have a decent follower. Otherwise, he wouldn't even care about Zhao Qibing. What was an illegitimate son of a hidden house? Even the direct descendants of the hidden families had to be respectful in front of the Fire Wolf Gang's division leader. This was also why Jiang Wen didn't give Qibing any face. Qibing knew that Jiang Wen had the fire wolves behind him, so he didn't dare to act recklessly. However, the secrets of the fire wolves were only known to those who stood at a certain level. Zhao Qibing knew a thing or two about them and knew that the fire wolves were not to be messed with. Sihua, on the other hand, had no idea how strong the fire wolves were. Right now, Jiang Wen felt that all he needed was a kidney, and he'd be able to regain his glory. Now that he had a career and powerful subordinates, all he had to do was install a kidney and he would once again be one of Songshan's 4 young masters. Jiang Wen hung up his father's call and was about to call Pinliang, but Pinliang's call came in before he could make the call. Jiang Wen picked it up quickly. Hello? Brother Pinliang? How was it? Are the results out yet? Hey, we're out. Pinliang pretended to be in pain and said worriedly, it really isn't a match, my kidney, Pinliang bro, I'm sorry for your loss. I'll get you a good kidney for sure. Look, is your kidney? Jiang Wen asked carefully. Yeah, since it's yours, I'll have to return it to its rightful owner. Pinliang sighed. And bro, you can't forget me in the future. You have to get me a good kidney. Of course. When do you think we should do the surgery? Jiang Wen was worried that something might happen if something went wrong. The sooner the better. There's no rush, right? My body's been through a couple of surgeries, and I'm still very weak. I need to nourish my body before the surgery, right? Pinliang said, troubled. Plus, the surgery fee is quite expensive. I'll have to discuss it with my dad first. The surgery fee is not a problem. Of course, I'll pay for it. How can I let you pay for it, bro? Jiang Wen said quickly. As for your body, we can nourish your body after the kidney transplant, right? How about this, I'll give you some nutrition fees, and you can buy some supplements or something. I see. Pinliang was overjoyed. Jiang Wen, you idiot. I'm giving you a dog kidney and you're giving me money? What an idiot. But he didn't show it on his face. Since an bro says so, I can't really say no. I guess that's the only way. But how much can you give me for the nutrition fees? How about 500,000? Jiang Wen gritted his teeth. That was half of his private stash. The rest of it was given to the fire wolves and Hausen. He was feeling a little heartache. But he had a career now, and he had a kidney. What was this little bit of money? It was a double blessing for him. Okay, right? Then when do we get the kidney transplant? Jiang Wen asked anxiously. And bro, since you're in such a hurry, I won't delay it any longer. How about tomorrow? Pinliang said. The private clinic that's doing the checkup here can do the surgery. I've already contacted Xiaofu. Okay. Tomorrow then. Pinliang bro, thank you. I'll treat you to a feast then. Jiang Wen was overjoyed by Pinliang's words and quickly thanked him. After Pinliang hung up, Xiaofu asked, Liang bro, how was it? Did Jiang Wen agree? He did. We'll get the kidney transplant tomorrow, and then give me 500,000 as compensation. Pinliang said. Is everything ready on your side? Everything's ready. We can do the surgery any time. Gao Xiaofu cackled and said, Brother Liang, I've also prepared a mad dog. I bought a mad dog from the dog hunting team. This mad dog is really hard to catch. Ha, we'll get that Jiang Wen a mad dog kidney. We'll play him to death. Who told him to screw me over? Take my kidney away? Pinliang started laughing as well. Jiang Wen, just you wait. The best part is yet to come. When Zhang Naipeo comes down from the mountain, it'll be your death. That's true. When Gunslinger comes out, no one will be able to fight him. Xiaofu said with anticipation. Liang bro, when do you think we can go see Naipeo? Chapter 850. You Xiaoka, are you depressed? I know that. Xiaofu nodded. The two of them had grown up amidst great joys and sorrows. How childish were they when they thought back to what they'd done. But how many people hadn't been childish before in their lives? How many people hadn't grown up amidst failure? Pinliang and Xiaofu's thoughts had deepened, and they no longer showed their hatred on their faces and fought their enemies head-on. They now knew how to use schemes and strategies. The next morning, Pinliang and Xiaofu arrived at the private clinic they'd agreed on earlier. This clinic was under Zihua's jurisdiction, and Xiaofu was able to easily reach an agreement with the doctors here using Zihua's name. Jiang Wen thought that it'd be hard for a normal clinic to complete a kidney transplant, but after seeing the size of this clinic, he let go of that worry. This clinic wasn't small at all, and they could even perform appendectomies and cholecystectomies. A kidney transplant shouldn't be a problem at all. Pinliang pretended to sigh as he chatted with Jiang Wen, and with Xiaofu's help, he walked into the surgery room and laid down on the bed. The doctor injected anesthetic into Jiang Wen first, and in order to not arouse Jiang Wen's suspicion, he pretended to inject the anesthetic into Pinliang as well. In fact, Jiang Wen was being very careful this time. He'd removed the wrong kidney last time, so naturally he'd be more careful this time. It wasn't that he thought that Pinliang would lie to him, but he didn't suspect Pinliang at all. Why would Pinliang want a rejected kidney? Since Pinliang had promised to return the kidney to him, Jiang Wen didn't think too much about it. He was just worried about the doctor's skills. After a while, a wave of drowsiness hit him, and Jiang Wen fell asleep. Pinliang, who should have fallen asleep as well, sat up abruptly and got off the bed. He looked at the sleeping Jiang Wen and spat on the ground before calling out to the surgery room. Xiaofu, open the door and let the dog out. Alright, Liang bro. Gao Xiaofu pushed a surgical cart over, and on the cart lay a big black dog that had already been anesthetized. Dr. Zhang, sorry to trouble you. Gao Xiaofu said to the chief surgeon with a smile. Don't worry, there won't be any problem. I don't dare to replace a human kidney, but a dog kidney is not a problem. Anyway, it's fine even if it's damaged, right? Dr. Zhang nodded and asked. It's fine if I die, Pinliang said nonchalantly. The rest was left to Dr. Zhang, and Pinliang and Xiaofu left first. Xiaoka was very depressed these days, almost to the point of being depressed. Qibing Real Estate wanted to demolish the orphanage, but before she could think of a good strategy, her source of income was cut off. Recently, the city's anti-theft campaign was in full swing, and Yu Xiaoke realized that there was a plainclothes police patrolling every few steps. She didn't have a chance to make a move. Moreover, committing a crime at a time like this was no different from asking for death. Although what she did wasn't enough for Ling Shan to issue a wanted order for her, who knew if Ling Shan told her subordinates about her appearance? What if she was recognized for being sneaky? However, she had to go out and earn money. The orphanage's expenses were getting higher and higher, and if this continued, they would be running out of money. Xiaoke was depressed and anxious. Xiaoke, what are you doing? You're walking around the house, and I'm getting dizzy, the dean couldn't help but ask when she saw Xiaoke walking around like a headless fly. Master, the police are starting to crack down, I can't go out and work anymore. Xiaoke sighed. I need to think of a way, it seems like I need to spread the news and get a few big deals. Lin Yi sighed and said. Xiaoke, it's been hard on you. The dean looked at Xiaoke with heartache. If it wasn't for the fact that I can't show my face in public, I really want to share some of your burden. You're only 18, and you should be enjoying your youth without any worries, but you have such a heavy burden on you every day, master, you're treating me like an outsider. You treat me like a daughter, and I share your burden. Isn't that what I should do? Xiaoke didn't think that she was suffering much. It had been so many years, and she was used to it. Now, all she wanted was to earn money so that the children in the orphanage could live a good life. Xiaoke, you're not young anymore, right? One of my biggest wishes is for you to marry into a good family, get rid of your current hard life, and live a happy life. The dean looked at Xiaoke and suddenly said. Me? Marry? Master, don't joke with me. Xiaoke shook her head, who dares to marry me? I'm a female thief, who dares to marry me? That's not important. If you don't say it yourself, who would know? The dean didn't mind, just change a place and hide your name, change a place and hide my name? No way. What about the children in the orphanage? How can I leave them alone? Xiaoke shook her head, so, whoever marries me has to bear the burden of the orphanage. Who would dare to marry me? Even if I'm as beautiful as a goddess, it's impossible, right? Plus, I'm not even a sky immortal yet. The dean sighed and didn't say anything else on the topic. He knew what Xiaoke was thinking. How could she think about marriage before the orphanage's problems were solved? And if it was as Xiaoke said, marrying her would have to bear the burden of the orphanage, then no one would dare to marry Xiaoke. Xiaoke was pretty, but she was used to playing around outside, and she was a female thief. Which rich family would want a girl like that? If it was a small family, who would be able to bear the burden of such a huge orphanage? But then again, even if those rich families were willing to marry Xiaoke, why would they help her bear the burden of the orphanage? They were rich, but they couldn't afford to spend money like that, could they? The orphanage's expenses went up to $1 million a year. How expensive were things nowadays? Chapter 851. House Kang's urging, what else can we do? We have to try, right? At least our sex qigong is good, and we're good at mechanisms. We're better than them. Yu Xiaoke said proudly. Last time, I helped them rob tombs. If it wasn't for me, they'd be dead already, just be careful. The dean knew that Yu Xiaoke had made up her mind, so he didn't try to persuade her anymore. The orphanage couldn't lose its income, or else it wouldn't be able to survive. Yu Xiaoke posted a mission on the Thief's Door's website and waited for people to accept it. But normally, once a mission was issued, there wouldn't be people looking for it immediately. So during this time, Yu Xiaoke decided to do something. After thinking about it, she felt that she didn't have any skills. The only thing she could think of was to sell flowers in front of the hospital. The risk was low, and she could still make a profit. After thinking about it, she brought Xiao Ken and the older kids to the wholesale market to buy some flowers. They started selling flowers in front of the first public hospital. In fact, there was a local boss who controlled the sales of flowers, but he knew Yu Xiaoka. He knew that she was a cat burglar, and that she wasn't someone to be messed with. He also heard about the crackdown in the city, so he knew that Yu Xiaoka selling flowers was just a temporary measure. It wouldn't last long, so he turned a blind eye to it. Kang Mingming laid on the sickbed. Luckily, his legs were only fractured, and not comminuted. It was a relatively light fracture. But as the saying goes, it takes 100 days to recover from an injury. Even if Kang Mingming had some good medicine, he wouldn't be able to walk in a short amount of time. Fortunately, the wheelchairs were more intelligent. They could move forward and backward, and they could even turn corners. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang followed them, so it didn't take too long. Today was the day that Kang Mingming was discharged. Other than the terminally ill, it was a good thing for normal people to be discharged, but Kang Mingming wasn't in a good mood. Guan Xian hadn't visited Kang Mingming ever since she'd laid in bed for so many days. Kang Mingming's main reason for staying in the hospital was to get close to Guan Xian, but now that he hadn't gotten close to her, he'd suffered for a few days in vain. Xu Bin, do you have any other good ideas? Kang Mingming was panicking. His family had been calling him all the time, urging him to get Guan Xian as soon as possible. But his leg was broken. Where would he get the chance to get Guan Xian? Master Ming, I don't think we should use the excuse of being sick to get close to Guan Xian. Wang Shubing said after some thought. Nonsense. You think I don't know? Even Guan Xian is starting to get suspicious. If I get sick again, even if she doesn't think I did it on purpose, she'll still think that I'm an unlucky bastard who gets sick all the time. Who would want to be friends with me? Kang Mingming snorted. Plus, which patient she's in charge of has such a bad injury? She won't be able to control it well if it's light or heavy. Yeah, but I really can't think of any good ideas. Wang Shubing said carefully. The guides on picking up girls on the internet are all bullsh*t, they're just to trick people. There's no practical use at all. What are they saying on the internet? Kang Mingming asked. They're all about drugging her, getting on the car first and then paying for the ticket. Wang Shubing said. What the fuck, you're on porn, right? What kind of nonsense is this? Kang Mingming heard Wang Shubing's words and knew that it was impossible. If he drugged Guan Xian, it'd be good enough if she didn't hate him to death. How could she tell him the formula? To hell with it. Yes. Yes. Wang Shubing wiped the sweat off his forehead. Didn't you tell me to go see her? But he didn't dare to refute. As they were talking, Kang Mingming's phone rang. Kang Ming picked it up and saw that it was his brother Kang Xiaolong. He quickly picked it up. Brother? Zhao Ming, I heard that you're leaving the hospital today. How's it going? Xiaolong had something to discuss with Kang Mingming, but Kang Ming had just been discharged from the hospital. As his brother, he had to visit him. I'm alright, but I still have to sit in a wheelchair. Brother, what's up? Kang Mingming asked. Isn't it that thing? Xiaolong sighed. The Xiao family came looking for Grandpa to force the marriage. They even brought a mystic class master. Motherfucker, are they trying to scare us? That's why you need to hurry up and get Guan Xian to give us the prescription. No matter what you do, you have to get it done as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to marry Wang Xinyan. Kang Mingming thought that marrying Wang Xinyan would be a beautiful thing. If he was the one to marry her, he'd be more than happy to do so. But he also knew that if House Kang really had the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, they'd have a qualitative leap. With this formula, they'd become one of the most powerful houses in the world. Although the aristocratic families that had consumed the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing didn't publicly announce the effects of the pill, they had secretly sent people to the Kang family to inquire if they had any intention of selling the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing they had purchased at the auction. If they could, they would offer a reasonable price. Reasonable price? House Kang had already spent more than 400 million on the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Wouldn't a reasonable price be more than 400 million? It was unimaginable. But Kang Ming Ming knew that even if they spent 500 million, it would still be worth it to some of the older members of the big houses or even the hidden houses. One pill could extend one's lifespan by 10 years. That was money for life. It was worth it no matter how much it cost. Plus, Kang Ming Ming had experienced the effects of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing firsthand, and he was still benefiting from it. His cold from before, and now that he'd been smashed by the house, had healed rather quickly. It was all thanks to the changes in his body. If it were the old Kang Ming Ming, with his weak kidneys, he'd be lying in the hospital a long time ago. As a result, once House Kang got the formula and refined the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, wouldn't all the other houses have to give them some face? At that time, the Kang family would be promoted to an aristocratic family, and that would be a matter of course. "I'll hurry," Kang Ming Ming said. "But we can't rush this, right?" Chapter 852. Oh. Injury medicine formula. Raw material supply. Raw material supply. What do we need that for? Kang Ming Ming didn't understand what Xiaolong wanted. If we find out that their formula is the same as our golden creation, we can sue them for patent infringement. Xiaolong said, as for the raw material supply, we can contact them and ask them to sell all their raw materials to us. That way, Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company won't have any raw materials to sell. If they can't make the product, then the formula will be useless. Is that so? I understand, I'll try my best to find out, Kang Ming Ming nodded. It's best to find out first. If the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing isn't easy, we can put it aside for now, Xiaolong said. Xiaolong said, after all, House Kang's biggest competitor is Miracle Dr. Guan's company. Okay. Kang Xiaoming replied. In his mind, he was thinking about how to get Miracle Dr. Guan's formula and the source of the raw materials. Did Guan Xan know about this? But even if she didn't, he could find out. It seemed like he had to get Guan Xan first. After hanging up, Kang Ming Ming was panicking. Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company was going to release their new product next month. It would be too much of a rush to get the formula before then. Wang Shubing, things have changed. We have to get Guan Xian as soon as possible. Kang Xiaoming didn't hide his intentions from his confidant. My big brother is already rushing me. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company will be releasing their product into the market next month. We need to get the formula of the injury medicine and the raw material purchasing channel before that happens. Kang Xiaoming didn't hide his intentions from his confidant. Wang Shubing and Zhu Shaozhang had helped him do some evil things before, such as murdering Xiaofan, so these things weren't a big deal in their eyes. Master Ming, that's going to be a bit difficult. Guan Xian's a pure and innocent girl with a strong sense of self-defense. With her family background, she won't be easily tempted by money. That's why our methods of picking up girls like their dirt aren't going to work. Wang Shubin frowned and sighed. Guan Xian is a girl from a wealthy family, she likes romantic love, but we don't have much to be romantic about, romantic. Damn it, I didn't know what romance was 10 years ago. Whenever I saw a pretty girl, I would throw money at her. Kang Ming Ming said fiercely, but I don't care. Think of a romantic way for me right now. I need to finish Guan Xian as soon as possible, there's no time. This. Wang Shubing was speechless. Where could he go to find romance at this time? However, since it was Kang Ming Ming's order, he could not disobey it. He could only think hard. Even though Zhu Shaozhang wasn't named by Kang Ming Ming, there was no guarantee that Kang Ming Ming would ask him. So he didn't dare delay. While Wang Shubin was thinking, Zhu Shaozhang was also thinking of a solution. You three, why are you standing in the middle of the hospital's entrance? Do you want to die? The three of them were thinking hard when they suddenly heard a loud shout. Kang Ming Ming looked up and saw a hearse entering the hospital. The three of them were standing in the middle of the entrance, blocking the hearse's way. The driver of the hearse was holding a wreath to pick up the deceased, but when he reached the entrance, he was blocked by Kang Ming Ming's group. He honked for a long time, but the three of them didn't hear him. The driver had no choice but to open the window and yell at them. However, Zhu Xiaozhang was an arrogant person. He was usually as domineering as a crab, but when he heard someone scolding him, he immediately became angry. He glared at the hearse driver and cursed, "Who are you calling courting death? You old bastard, you don't want to live anymore, do you? Do you know who I am? Why are you in such a hurry? Do you want to die?" The hearse driver was just angry at the moment, so he spoke without thinking. As long as Zhu Xiaozhang moved out of the way, he would let it go. However, when he saw Zhu Xiaozhang's arrogance, blocking the road and still speaking reasonably, he became angry. "I am in a hurry to pick up the deceased. What's wrong? If you don't move out of the way, I will run you over and give you a wreath. I will take you to the crematorium on the way." Huh? Zhu Xiaozhang wanted to continue yelling, but when he heard the driver say he would give him a wreath, he suddenly had an idea. Wreath. Flowers. Yes, if there was anything romantic, it would be giving flowers. He had seen some soap operas before. In those soap operas, the male protagonist would use flowers to woo the female protagonist. They would create a sea of flowers, and then the male protagonist would stand in the middle of the sea of flowers with a broken guitar, confessing his love. Although Guan Xian wasn't a gold digger, she definitely couldn't stand such a romantic sea of flowers. Every girl wanted to have a romantic courtship like this, so Guan Xian was no exception. Zhu Xiaozhang was so happy that he danced with joy. His gaze towards the hearse driver was a lot gentler than before. This person was a great help to him. So Zhu Xiaozhang smiled at the hearse driver. "Thank you." The hearse driver was dumbfounded. What kind of person was this? He was giving him a wreath and he was thanking him. Was there something wrong with him? Was he crazy? Thinking of this possibility and seeing Zhu Xiaozhang's gratified smile, the driver shuddered. He suddenly remembered that this was a hospital. Could this person in front of him be a mental patient? Thinking of this possibility, the driver was shocked. It wasn't against the law for this psychopath to kill someone. He couldn't provoke him. He quickly reversed the car and prepared to leave from the back door of the hospital. He didn't want to provoke this psychopath and invite an unexpected disaster. Zhu Xiaozhang didn't have the mood to care about what the driver was thinking. He quickly turned to Kang Ming Ming. "Master Ming, I have a good idea." "What is it? Hurry up and tell me." Kang Ming Ming asked impatiently. "It's like this, we can use the flower sea tactic." Wang Shubing said, "Master Ming, we can buy a bunch of flowers and place them in the courtyard of the hospital. Then you can confess to Guan Xian in front of everyone. How romantic would that be? When Guan Xian is touched, she might give you a chance." "Oh. Will that work?" Kang Xiaoming listened to Wang Shubin's plan and felt that it was feasible. He couldn't help but feel moved. Chapter 853. Chapter 852, Richu Xiaoka, you're right. Kang Ming Ming nodded. "Now that you mention it, I think so too. In those dramas, a lot of them use a sea of flowers to woo someone." However, Kang Ming Ming and Wang Shubing had neglected one important point, and that was the relationship between the male and female lead in dramas. It was completely different from his relationship with Guan Xian. The male lead used a sea of flowers to woo someone, but it was built on the premise that the female lead already had feelings for him. It was just that the two of them had misunderstandings or conflicts, or maybe it was just a layer of paper window that wasn't broken. That was why the sea of flowers had such a powerful effect. But the problem now was that Guan Xian didn't like Kang Ming Ming at all, and she didn't have any feelings for Kang Ming Ming. How could she fall in love with Kang Ming Ming just because of the sea of flowers? If it was Lin Yi doing this, Guan Xian might have gladly accepted. Then should we go back and contact the florist? Wang Shubing saw that Kang Ming Ming had agreed, so he asked. Go back for what? Can't we just buy the flowers here? It's better to do this as soon as possible. Kang Ming was in a hurry, and he didn't want to wait any longer. Okay, then we'll buy it now. Wang Shubing nodded and pushed Kang Ming out of the hospital. He saw Yu Xiaoka selling flowers with the children from the orphanage. Isn't there someone selling flowers here? Kang Ming's eyes lit up when he saw Yu Xiaoka. What a pretty girl. But she looked familiar, as if he had seen her somewhere before. However, he had to pursue Guan Xian, and he couldn't afford to cause any trouble. Otherwise, he would have gone after the little girl selling flowers. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang also felt that Yu Xiaoka looked familiar, but they didn't know where they had seen her before. However, he didn't pay much attention to it. He thought that she sold flowers at the entrance of the hospital every day, and he saw her every day when he went in and out. However, it was no wonder that Yu Xiaoka was wearing a nurse's white coat. It was a completely different image from the one she was selling flowers right now. That was why Kang Xiaoming, Zhu Xiaozhang, and Wang Shubing didn't recognize her as the nurse who tricked them and sent them to the morgue. However, Kang Ming, Wang Shubin, and Zhu Xiaozhang didn't recognize Xiaoka, but she did. As a qualified cat burglar, Xiaoka's eyesight was quite good. She recognized the 3 fat sheep with one look, but when she saw them walking towards her, she felt a little guilty. Could it be that the 3 of them recognized him? Xiaoka was a little worried, but thinking that she was just messing with them, they wouldn't know that she was the one who stole their wallets. She calmed down and pretended not to know them. Hey, how much are your flowers? We want to buy more. Do you have any left? Zhu Xiaozhang's tone was arrogant, but the more he acted like this, the more people would treat him as a fat sheep. Yes, I have as many as you want. But what flowers do you want to buy? Xiaoka's eyes brightened. She knew that the 3 idiots were going to give her money. We want roses. How many do you have? The ones you have aren't enough for anything. Zhu Xiaozhang said impatiently. Roses are 3 yuan each. I have as many as you want. If you don't have enough, you can plant them now, Xiaoka said. Zhu Xiaozhang felt that Xiaoka wasn't reliable after hearing her **t. He wanted to ask the flower shop nearby, but he heard Kang Ming say something. Your words are quite interesting. Kang Ming laughed, then I'll buy them from you. I want to buy 10,000 roses and put them in the hospital yard. It'll be a sea of flowers for an hour. Is that okay? Sure, but you have to give me a deposit first. Xiaoka was overjoyed. She didn't expect to meet an idiot like this on her first day of selling flowers. He didn't even ask for the price and ordered 10,000 roses. 3 kuai was only the retail price of a single rose. She could buy 10 of them at a cheaper price, and she could even get the packaging for free. Deposit is not a problem, but I can't give you much. 10,000. I'll give you the rest after you get the flowers. Kang Xiaoming said. In his eyes, 10,000 kuai wasn't much, not to mention that he had just gotten some money from Cihua. He was quite generous. Xiaoka almost laughed out loud after hearing Kang Ming's words. 10,000. 10,000 roses didn't even cost 10,000 RMB. Currently, the price of roses in Songshan City's flower wholesale market was 50 cents, but if the quantity was large, it could be lowered to 30 cents. So only 3,000 RMB was enough. This idiot gave her 10,000 at once. What a great deal. Xiaoka estimated that she could give them 80 cents if they bargained, but these 3 didn't seem to know the market at all. They didn't bargain and even gave her 10,000 as a deposit. Of course, Xiaoka couldn't show it. She said calmly, okay, give me the deposit and I'll send the flowers to you. Kang Ming and the others didn't expect that they could bargain with the price of the flowers. After all, they saw that Xiaoka was a street flower seller, and she didn't earn much from one flower. Plus, it was only a few kuai. Even Kang Ming felt that it was beneath him to bargain. He was the second young master of House Kang. How could he argue with a few street flower sellers? If word got out, wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Kang Mingming sent Zhu Xiaozhang to a nearby ATM to withdraw 10,000 and gave it to Xiaoke. Here's the deposit. If you do well, there's a reward. To Kang Xiaoming, 30 or 20,000 wasn't much, so he promised Xiaoke that if she did a good job, there would be a reward. He wanted her to do a good job for him. Xiaoke's eyes lit up when she heard that there was a reward. She gave Kang Mingming some ideas. Boss, who are you welcoming? Is it your girlfriend? Yes, it's my girlfriend. I want to confess to her. Kang Mingming was overjoyed when he heard that Guan Xian was his girlfriend. He was in a great mood. He nodded. Why? Is there something? If you're welcoming your girlfriend, do you need me to prepare a sign or something? Xiaoke thought that since she earned so much from him and got a reward, she might as well give him something as well. Chapter 854. The big battle. Xiaoke was speechless. She wanted to give him a sign for free, but this guy wanted to give her money too. There was no reason for Xiaoke to reject it. So he nodded and said, Boss, you are really straightforward. Your girlfriend must be very happy to have a boyfriend like you. Wahahaha, you know me too well. Of course, of course. Kang Mingming thought that with Xiaoke's lucky words, he would definitely be able to win today. He said to Xiaoke, didn't we agree on 30,000? If you do well today, I'll give you 50,000. But other than the sign, you have to buy me some other things. Alright, boss, just say it. Xiaoke thought that she'd met an idiot today. She'd be letting herself down if she didn't rip him off. Go get me some fireworks, a broken guitar, and a megaphone. I want to confess my love. Kang Mingming thought that in movies, other than a sea of flowers, there were fireworks as well, and so he took the chance to bring it up. Kang Mingming was too lazy to buy them himself, and he didn't know where to buy fireworks. He wasn't familiar with Songshan either, so he might as well let Xiaoke do it for him. Xiaoke happily went to buy the things. As a female cat burglar, she'd been to many places in Songshan, and so she knew what was sold and what was available. She sent Ken to the flower market to buy flowers, and another to buy fireworks, and another to the second-hand market to buy a broken guitar and megaphone. Xiaoke herself went to prepare the sign for Kang Mingming. Because there were many people, the division of labor was clear, and so after Xiaoke got the sign from the photocopier, the others also brought the things back, arranging them according to Kang Mingming's requirements. Kang Mingming didn't expect Xiaoke to finish it so quickly. He couldn't contain his joy and gave the remaining 40,000 to Xiaoke without hesitation. Ken and the kids didn't think that Xiaoke would be this good. She just casually negotiated a 50,000 kuai deal. The flowers, the sign, the second-hand guitar, and the amplifier only cost 4,000 kuai in total. They couldn't believe that they had earned 45,000 kuai in just a blink of an eye. Xiaoke took the money and left. She had earned enough here, and if she earned more, people would be jealous of her. Xiaoke knew the rules here, and knew that there were flower shops in this area. In fact, these shops would send people to sell flowers in front of the hospital, and Xiaoke had stolen such a big business from them. How could the flower shop be willing to accept that? If she were to continue doing this tomorrow, these people would definitely cause trouble for Xiaoke. She knew when to retreat and took the money and left. But even so, there were still people who were jealous. The owner of the flower shop nearby looked at Xiaoke with a greedy and hateful gaze. He wasn't happy at all. If it wasn't for Mad Bull Bro telling him that Xiaoke wasn't someone to be messed with, he would have gone up and asked for a share. Seeing Xiaoke leave, the flower shop owner walked over and found Kang Mingming. Boss, I'm from Tiandao Flower Shop. Do you need any more flowers? I have them here, and they're very complete. We're done, what else do you want? Kang Mingming was excitedly preparing to confess to Guan Xian, and this flower shop owner came over to talk to him. It pissed him off. Go away, don't get in the way. The flower shop owner could only back off. Then you can come to me next time, I can give you a discount. Alright, I got it. Kang Ming waved his hand and said impatiently, get the fuck out. Guan Xian was only a nurse in the Songshan First Hospital, but there were many people who knew her. The prettiest girl in the Songshan First Hospital was definitely Guan Xian, so whether they'd talked to her or not, they'd all heard of her name. Now that Kang Ming had put up the sign, Guan Xian, I love you, many people saw it and stopped to look, trying to guess who Kang Ming was. Could this guy in the wheelchair be Guan Xian's boyfriend? Guan Xian, on the other hand, got the news very quickly. Those who knew Guan Xian told her about the situation at the hospital entrance. Xian, I have big news for you. There's a sea of roses outside our hospital, and they're preparing to confess. That's quite romantic. He's really rich. Li Xiaomei said enviously. Oh. Guan Xian only smiled faintly. What does that have to do with me? How does it have nothing to do with you? That person even put up a sign, Guan Xian, I love you, it's obviously for you. It's already spread in our hospital. Li Xiaomei said, I just went to the ward and the doctor there told me. Huh? Me? Guan Xian's eyes widened at Li Xiaomei's words. She looked at her in disbelief. Really? Are you talking about me? Yes. Li Xiaomei nodded. It's really you. Who? Who would do that? Was it Lin Yi? Guan Xian subconsciously thought of Lin Yi, but when she thought of Lin Yi, she shook her head and blamed herself. It couldn't be Lin Yi, why would he confess to her? He was really indulging in fantasies. Guan Xian lost interest once she remembered that the person wasn't Lin Yi. There wasn't any excitement on her face. Who's so bored? Xian, aren't you moved at all after hearing this explosive news? You don't even want to go out and see who did it? Li Xiaomei asked curiously. No. Guan Xian shook her head. What's there to see? It's probably Kang Ming, that boring person. Now that you mention it, it's possible. Li Xiaomei lost interest when she heard the name. She didn't have any feelings for Kang Ming, and she also knew Xiao Fan through Guan Xian. She knew that Xiao Fan was harmed by Kang Ming, so she didn't have a good impression of Kang Ming, and now her impression of him was even worse. So, let's get back to work. Guan Xian started to get busy again. After work, Guan Xian and Li Xiaomei walked out of the hospital together. Wang Shubin, who was in charge of investigating at the hospital, saw Guan Xian and immediately sent a signal to Kang Ming and Zhu Xiaozhang. Chapter 855. The greedy florist Guan Xian thought that Kang Xiaoming would be in a hurry to leave after waiting for so long, but she didn't expect to be startled by the fireworks as soon as she stepped out of the door. Kang Xiaoming's sudden voice startled her. Before Guan Xian could react, Kang Xiaoming started singing. There's a girl in the hospital called Xian. She's pretty and kind. She has a pair of big beautiful eyes, and her braids are thick and long. Kang Ming played the guitar and sang, giving off the vibe of a passionate prince. It was just that his voice was terrible, like a frog croaking. Not only did it scare Guan Xian, it also made the onlookers frown. Xiaomei, let's go. Ignore him. Guan Xian hadn't been in a situation like this before. She was truly frightened by Kang Ming. Kang Ming panicked when he saw that Guan Xian was about to leave. He didn't care about singing anymore and went straight into his confession. Xian, you're the goddess in my heart. You're the electricity, you're the light, you're the legend, I only love you. Where are you guys from? Flammable items aren't allowed in the hospital, and fireworks aren't allowed. Plus, you've already disturbed the patients by shouting with a megaphone. Come with us to the police room for your punishment. Just as Kang Xiaoming was making a fuss, the police in the hospital's duty room received a report and ran over, surrounding Kang Xiaoming in an instant. Kang Ming didn't think he'd attract the police. Is it illegal for me to pick up girls? It's not illegal for you to pick up girls, but what you're doing is against the hospital's rules. Come back with us. 2 police officers took Kang Ming away. Everyone had gathered around to watch the drama, but before Kang Xiaoming could finish his confession, he was taken away by the police. Soon, everyone dispersed. Guan Xian breathed a sigh of relief. This Kang Ming really was annoying. She didn't know what to do with him. Guan Xian didn't lack suitors in the past, but this was the first time she'd made such a big fuss. Phew. Guan Xian let out a long sigh of relief. She decided that the next time she saw Kang Ming, she'd have a good talk with him. There was no hope between them, so he shouldn't waste his time. This person is really unlucky. He was arrested by the police on duty in the hospital before he could finish his confession. Li Xiaomei curled her lips, feeling a little funny. Thank God he was taken, or I wouldn't know how to deal with him. Guan Xian shook her head as she quickly followed Li Xiaomei to where the hospital bus was parked. Kang Ming was in the hospital's police office. He wrote a letter of guarantee, paid a small fine, and was released. After all, he didn't do anything too serious. The police criticized and educated him before letting him go. Kang Ming didn't listen to a single word. He was secretly worried and quickly maneuvered his wheelchair out of the police office. He saw Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubing waiting at the entrance. Where's Guan Xian? How is she? Kang Ming asked anxiously. She left a long time ago. Wang Shubing said helplessly, Master Ming, you weren't there, so we couldn't stop Guan Xian from leaving. When she left, what was her expression like? Was she happy? Kang Ming asked. No, she looked angry. Wang Shubing said carefully. Motherfucker, we made such a big scene for nothing. Kang Ming said unhappily, how can this hospital be so lenient? The 3 of them left the hospital together. The sea of flowers in front of the hospital had already been removed, and the guitar and amplifier were nowhere to be seen. However, Kang Xiaoming didn't really care about these things. Right now, he was thinking about how to get Guan Xian. It seemed that his confession was a complete failure. He just didn't know if he was angry because Guan Xian didn't like him, or was he angry because his confession was ruined. The owner of the flower shop in front of the hospital was rich. Kang Ming was arrested, Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang were also gone. The 10,000 roses in front of the door were now ownerless. The owner of the flower shop quickly called a few workers to collect all the roses and put them in her cellar. The owner picked up a big bargain, but not only was he not satisfied, he was still planning to sell the flowers to Kang Ming tomorrow. He waited at the hospital entrance and saw Kang Ming and the other 2 walk over. He quickly greeted them with a smile, 3 bosses, do you still want to buy flowers? I have some cheap roses here, guaranteed to be cheap. Do you still want them tomorrow? What the fuck? Kang Ming glared at the flower shop owner. Still want to buy? Still want to make a fool of himself tomorrow? Boss, didn't you fail today? Don't you want to continue tomorrow? The owner paused and was a little unwilling. He saw that Yu Xiaoke was earning money, so he was extremely jealous. Now he picked up 10,000 roses and wanted to sell them to Kang Ming. It would have been better if the owner didn't mention it, but once he mentioned the failed confession, Kang Ming was furious. He really touched his sore spot. He was so angry that he pointed at the flower shop owner and ordered Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubing, beat him up. Motherfucker, don't be so noisy in front of me. As the saying goes, a man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. This owner was such a person. He obviously picked up 10,000 roses, but he still wasn't satisfied. He wanted to sell the 10,000 roses to Kang Ming. In the end, he was beaten up by Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang. They beat the owner until he lost his temper. Although the owner had some background and knew the boss of this area, Mad Bull Bro, he saw that Kang Xiaoming and the other 2 were driving a Porsche Cayenne. One look and he could tell that they were rich people. He could only cry and beg for mercy. Kang Mingming's war of courtship ended in a farce. Guan Xian wasn't moved at all, making Kang Mingming waste 50,000 yuan. However, Kang Mingming didn't give up. The next afternoon, when it was almost time to get off work, he, Wang Shubing, and Zhu Xiaozhang squatted in front of the First People's Hospital, waiting for Guan Xian to get off work. Based on the current situation, what should I do? Kang Xiaoming sighed helplessly. He had accepted the mission his family gave him with full confidence. He thought that he could complete it perfectly, but who would have thought that Guan Xian would be so hard to deal with? Guan Xian wasn't moved no matter what he did. Logically speaking, his family background was similar to Guan Xian's, so they were considered a match. Why wasn't Guan Xian moved? Chapter 856. Guan Xian's father. Yesterday was a good opportunity. If we continued, Guan Xian might really be moved and give you a chance. But yesterday's plan failed. We can't use the same plan a second time. Even if we use it, it won't have any effect. So I think we should change our strategy. Aren't you talking nonsense? I know that too. Kang Xiaoming wasn't in a good mood. What I want right now is a practical solution, not a theoretical analysis like yours. I don't have much time left, do you know that? The situation right now is that my family is really pressuring me. If I really can't get the formula this time, my position in the Kang family will plummet. You two idiots won't be able to be as powerful without my support. This. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang heard Kang Mingming's words and realized that things weren't as simple as they seemed. Indeed, if Kang Mingming wasn't popular in the Kang family, then the two of them wouldn't be able to call the shots like they were now. Thinking of this, Wang Shubing took a deep breath and began to think of a countermeasure. Kang Mingming saw that he was thinking and didn't disturb him. Among them, only Wang Shubing could be considered the brains, so everything depended on him. I got it. Wang Shubing suddenly had an idea. Master Ming, all the signs show that Guan Xian is a good girl. This type of girl listens to her family. So, if we directly propose to the Guan family, there should be some hope. Think about it, you are the grandson of Dr. Kang, and Guan Xian is the granddaughter of Miracle Dr. Guan. You two are a strong combination. I think Guan Xuemin wouldn't object, right? Your idea might work, but you have to understand that I'm not looking for Guan Xian to marry her. I'm just trying to get Guan Xian's recipe from her. If I can have some fun, then I'll do it. It's fine if I can't, but marriage is out of the question. Kang Xiaoming said. How can I get married if I get the recipe out of her? Plus, even if it's a fake marriage, my grandfather has to step in. I can't be stupid enough to ask for Guan Xuemin's hand. Do you think Guan Xuemin will believe him? This. Wang Shubing hesitated. Master Ming, why don't you pay her a visit and tell her that you just want to get to know her better? Although it's not a formal proposal, it's still a hint. I'm sure Xuemin won't reject it too much. Wouldn't it be perfectly justifiable for you to approach Guan Xian? That makes sense. Kang Xiaoming nodded. But I'm not familiar with him. I've never met him before. What if he objects to it? I think you're not asking for her hand in marriage, Master Ming. You're just asking to be friends with Guan Xian. I don't think Guan Xuemin would reject you out of respect, would he? As long as he doesn't refuse, we can do it. Wang Shubin continued, of course, if Guan Xuemin strongly disagrees, even if you're with Guan Xian, he will still find a way to separate you two. He won't easily give the recipe to Guan Xian. That's true. The key was the attitude of the Guan family. Then should we pay a visit to Guan Xuemin? Kang Mingming nodded. I'll have to discuss this with my family. We can't go empty-handed, we have to bring some gifts. As the three of them were talking, it was time for the hospital to get off work. Guan Xian and Li Xiaomei walked out of the hospital. When they were about to reach the entrance, Guan Xian said to Li Xiaomei, you can take the commuter car today. I have other things to do. Oh? You have a date? Li Xiaomei paused. She smiled mischievously at Guan Xian. Don't tell me it's with that Kang Mingming. How is that possible? Guan Xian glared at her. Even if you beat me to death, I would never go on a date with him. Don't make wild guesses. My dad came to Songshan for business. He's here to pick me up. I see. Li Xiaomei nodded. Isn't that the legendary major shareholder? Shouldn't the dean come out to greet him? My dad is just passing by. He didn't come to the hospital for an inspection. Why would he notify the dean? Guan Xian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All right, I'll be going first. Guan Xian ran towards the Audi A6L parked in front of the hospital. The car was quietly parked not far from the entrance. It didn't enter the hospital, so no one noticed that it was Guan Xiaoxiang's car. Young Master Ming, Guan Xian is here. Wang Shubing saw Guan Xian and reminded Kang Mingming. Oh. She's not taking the commuter car? Kang Mingming paused. His original plan was to wait for Guan Xian to get on the commuter car. Then, the three of them would silently follow behind. Once Guan Xian was home, they would pay her a visit. He didn't expect Guan Xian to not get on the commuter car. Did she have something else to do today? No. Young Master Ming, she got on the Audi A6L. It's a Songjiang license plate. Zhu Xiaozhang pointed in the direction Guan Xian ran to. Songjiang license plate? Could it be that Guan Xian went to meet her lover? Kang Mingming's face immediately darkened. The driver of the black Audi A6L was most likely a man. Judging from the light in the car when Guan Xian opened the door, the driver should be a man. I don't think so. That man seems to be quite old. Zhu Xiaozhang's eyes were sharp, and he quickly said. Could it be that he's a prostitute? It would have been better if Zhu Xiaozhang didn't mention it. Kang Xiaoming's face darkened. Go and find out who this car belongs to. I'm so mad. Kang Mingming felt like he was being humiliated. He originally thought that Guan Xian didn't accept his confession because she was too pure. She was like a blank sheet of paper. She had never been in a relationship before, so she was subconsciously on guard. But now, it didn't seem to be the case. Zhu Xiaozhang and Wang Shubing didn't have much of a relationship in Songshan. However, in Donghai City, they relied on Kang Mingming to know a lot of people. They made a phone call and got the information of the car from a friend who worked in the insurance business. Young Master Ming, this car belongs to Mingyang Pharmaceutical Company, Ltd. Zhu Xiaozhang told the result to Kang Mingming. Mingyang Pharmaceutical Company, Ltd? Why does this name sound so familiar? Kang Mingming frowned and muttered the name. Chapter 857. Kang Mingming's visit. Yes, that's right. Kang Mingming also remembered after Wang Shubing's reminder, so, that man just now could be Guan Xian's father? It should be, or else he would be her father's driver. Wang Shubing nodded. Master Ming, I suddenly thought of something. If you visit Guan Xian's father, Guan Xiaoxiang, it might be more effective than visiting Guan Xueming. Oh? Why do you say that? Kang Mingming quickly asked. Master Ming, you're Dr. Kang's medical company, doesn't it work with a lot of hospitals? The first People's Hospital and the second People's Hospital are the same. Isn't that Guan Xian's father's company? Zhu Xiaozhang interrupted. If that's the case, then Guan Xiaoxiang won't offend you openly because of his business relationship with the Kang family. As long as he agrees for you to interact with Guan Xian, then you'll have achieved your goal. That makes sense. Let's go. Get in the car, we'll follow them and see where they're going. Kang Mingming nodded. Guan Xiaoxiang hadn't learned reconnaissance or anti-reconnaissance, so he didn't notice that a Porsche Cayenne was slowly following behind him. He was still chatting with Guan Xian. Xian, are you busy with work? Are you tired? It's all right. Sometimes it's a little tiring, but I like this job. Guan Xian nodded. If you're tired, then come to Dad's company. You can't be a nurse forever, right? Guan Xiaoxiang smiled. He always wanted Guan Xian to come to his company, but Guan Xian didn't agree. No, I want to stay here with Grandpa. Guan Xian shook her head. Guan Xiaoxiang sighed and didn't bring up the topic again. He changed the topic. How's your health? Not bad. Grandpa's been in a good mood because of the company, Guan Xian said. Company? You have to keep an eye on your grandfather for me. He has never done business in his entire life. Don't let him get cheated, or he will lose his reputation. When Guan Xiaoxiang heard about his father starting a company, he was a little displeased. When he first started his business, he wanted to use his father's name as a springboard to achieve some results. Especially that Lin Yi. He's so young, but I don't know what kind of talent he has for your grandfather to praise him so much. However, after he expressed his thoughts, he was sternly rejected by his father. He said that he was afraid that he would be cheated by his friend and that it would affect his reputation. Fortunately, he had the help of a benefactor, so he was able to expand his business. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to marry his girlfriend, Guan Xian's mother. Guan Xian's mother's family was against it. Therefore, every time he thought about this incident, Guan Xiaoxiang always felt like there was a thorn in his heart. Even though it had been a long time since the incident, there was still some estrangement between the father and son. Even though they cared for each other, they were not very close. No, Lin Yi is a good person. He wouldn't lie to Grandpa. Guan Xian subconsciously defended Lin Yi when she heard her father's words. However, as soon as she opened her mouth, she felt that she was a little too impatient and blushed. Looking at his daughter's face, Guan Xiaoxiang suddenly frowned. Could it be that his daughter had fallen for Lin Yi? Guan Xiaoxiang didn't continue on this topic. The car slowly drove into Songshan Medical University. Guan Xiaoxiang parked the car in front of his father's villa. Even though the father and son's relationship wasn't very harmonious, Guan Xiaoxiang would still go home to visit Guan Xuemin every time he came back to work. Guan Xuemin's relationship with his son had been like this for the past few years. Now, he was used to it. When he saw his son return, he nodded and didn't say anything. He went back to his study and continued with his work. On the other hand, Guan Xiaoxiang sat on the sofa in the living room and chatted with Guan Xian about the hospital. Kang Mingming followed Guan Xiaoxiang's car all the way to the entrance of Guan Xuemin's villa. In order to pursue Guan Xian, he bought a fake medical university pass so that he could enter and exit the family area. Master Ming, it looks like that person is Guan Xian's father. If he was a driver, he wouldn't be able to enter the villa. Should we go visit him tonight? Wang Shubin asked. Yes, we'll go buy some gifts first, then we'll visit him. Kang Mingming confirmed that the person was Guan Xian's father, Guan Xiaoxiang. He was relieved. Kang Xiaoming carried some famous cigarettes and wine as Wang Shubin pushed him to the front of the villa. He rang the doorbell of Guan Xuemin's house. Zhu Xiaozhang was arranged to stay in the car. With his personality, it wasn't appropriate to bring him in. Mother Lu opened the door and saw Kang Mingming in a wheelchair and Wang Shubin pushing him. She was surprised and asked, "Excuse me, are you here to see Professor Guan?" "No, this young master, I'm Kang Xiaoming, the second grandson of Miracle Dr. Kang of Donghai. I'm here to pay a visit to Guan Xiaoxiang." Kang Xiaoming replied. "Oh, wait a moment, I'll ask for you," Mother Lu nodded. She didn't open the iron gate outside but turned around and went back into the living room. "Mother Lu, who's here?" Guan Xiaoxiang saw that Mother Lu didn't bring anyone in and asked curiously. "Mr. Guan, there's someone who claims to be Donghai Dr. Kang's second grandson, Kang Mingming. He wants to visit you, what do you think?" Mother Lu said. Oh. Someone from the Kong family? Guan Xiaoxiang was surprised and said, I'll go take a look. Guan Xian's expression changed. She didn't think that Kong Mingming would have the guts to visit. What was he planning? She wanted to tell her father not to go, but her father had already stood up. She stopped herself and thought, let him come in and explain things to him. Guan Xiaoxiang and Mother Lu came to the door and saw Kong Mingming in a wheelchair. He was shocked. He had never seen Kong Mingming before, but he didn't think that Kong Mingming would come in a wheelchair. He couldn't help but ask, You're Kong Mingming? What happened to you? Uncle Guan, hello, I'm Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming saw that Guan Xiaoxiang came to greet him and quickly said, I was hit by something 2 days ago. It's not a big deal, it's just a normal bone fracture. It'll heal soon. Oh. Guan Xiaoxiang didn't ask too much. He opened the iron gate and let Kong Mingming and Wang shoving into the mansion. Kong Mingming. You don't mind me calling you that, right? It's fine, it's fine. Uncle Guan, you can call me Zhao Ming. Kong Mingming said respectfully. He wanted to leave a good impression in front of Guan Xiaoxiang, so he naturally pretended to be a good young man. Guan Xiaoxiang nodded. Kong Mingming, are you here to visit me? What business do you have with me? Are you here to represent your grandfather, or? Chapter 858. Guan Xian is engaged. Okay, please come in. Even though Guan Xiaoxiang didn't know the purpose of Kong Mingming's visit, he was still a member of Donghai's Kong family. They were in the same line of business, and his company had many collaborations with the Kong family. He didn't want to neglect Kong Mingming. After entering the study, Guan Xiaoxiang sat on the sofa. Kong Mingming was in a wheelchair, so Guan Xiaoxiang didn't bother with pleasantries. He looked at Wang Shubin and asked, This is? Uncle Guan, don't worry about him. He's my friend. Just let him stand here. Kong Mingming waved his hand. Okay, then, why are you here? Guan Xiaoxiang really didn't know why Kong Mingming was here, and why was he here to visit him? How did he know that he would come to his father's place tonight? Even though he was confused, he didn't show it on his face. He wanted to hear what Kong Mingming had to say. Uncle Guan, I'm here to visit you because I'm a little embarrassed. Kong Mingming pretended to be simple and honest as he scratched his head. I'm not here on behalf of my grandfather, nor on behalf of Dr. Kang's medical company. I'm here for myself, oh? Guan Xiaoxiang frowned slightly, but he only made a sound of confusion. He didn't ask any more questions. Hee. Uncle Guan, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I have my own difficulties. Kong Mingming was a little embarrassed. A while ago, my leg was broken. When I was in the hospital, it was Miss Guan's meticulous care that allowed me to get out of the hospital so early. Miss Guan's gentleness, beauty, and generosity deeply touched me. As the saying goes, a gentleman seeks a fair lady. I really admire Miss Guan, and I want to be friends with her. I hope Uncle Guan won't object. A fair lady seeks a fair lady? You mean, you want to be friends with Guan Xian? Guan Xiaoxiang's frown deepened. You're right, Uncle Guan, but I'm not saying that I'm going to be friends with Guan Xian right away. I just hope that you can give me a chance. If it doesn't work out, I'll leave quietly. Kong Mingming tried his best to make himself look pitiful. He just wanted a chance. With that, and the partnership between the two families, Guan Xiaoxiang would definitely give him face. After he finished speaking, he was waiting for Guan Xiaoxiang to agree, but he didn't expect to be rejected. I'm sorry, but I can't agree to your request. After Guan Xiaoxiang heard Kong Mingming's words, he rejected his suggestion without hesitation. He didn't give him any face at all. Even though Kong Mingming's words were straightforward, he was polite and honest. It made people think that he didn't have any bad intentions. This was something that he had discussed with Wang Shubin. In front of people like Guan Xiaoxiang, the more smooth he acted, the more he wouldn't be liked. So Kang Mingming pretended to be honest. He didn't expect Guan Xiaoxiang to reject him directly. This made Kang Ming dumbfounded. Ah. Kang Mingming couldn't accept it. Why? He said it so well, he just wanted a chance, he didn't want to be with Guan Xian. Why? Thinking about this, Kang Mingming was a little angry. But in order to not anger Guan Xiaoxiang, he suppressed his anger and asked, Uncle Guan, why? Guan Xian isn't young anymore, right? She's at the age to talk about marriage. And me, did I do something to displease you? Please don't hesitate to mention it. If possible, I will change them all. This has nothing to do with you. Guan Xiaoxiang waved his hand. Logically speaking, you are Elder Kang's grandson, my junior. I should be able to give you this chance, but I can't. Why? Because Xian has been engaged since she was young. It's the kind of arranged marriage. This has nothing to do with whether I'm satisfied with you or not. Guan Xian already has a fiancé, how can I let her date you? This is completely unrealistic. Already has a fiancé? Kang Mingming's face turned green. He originally thought that Guan Xiaoxiang had heard of his bad reputation, that's why he rejected him. He didn't think that it was because of this reason. If it was his problem, Kang Mingming had the confidence to solve it. But it was Guan Xian's problem, how could he solve it? Guan Xiaoxiang had already told him clearly that Guan Xian already had a fiancé. No matter how hard he tried, it would be useless. Guan Xiaoxiang had already excluded him. No matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to change Guan Xiaoxiang's mind. Kang Mingming didn't think that Guan Xiaoxiang was lying to him on purpose. There was no need to lie about this kind of thing. With Guan Xiaoxiang's status, he didn't need to find an excuse to beat around the bush. House Kang wasn't a noble house yet, it was normal for Guan Xiaoxiang to not give him face. So Guan Xiaoxiang's words convinced Kang Mingming, and made him completely give up. She already has a fiancé. No matter what, there was no way Guan Xian could be with him. Kang Mingming sighed and said helplessly, if that's the case, then I'll have to bother Uncle Guan. Kang Mingming, you are Elder Kang's grandson. You were born in a medical family. You are also very outstanding. Don't you have to hang yourself for this tree? Xian is already engaged. This can't be changed. I hope you can get over it. Guan Xiaoxiang tried to persuade him. After all, Kang Mingming was Dr. Kang's grandson. Guan Xiaoxiang would still give him some face. Kang Xiaoming listened to Guan Xiaoxiang's comforting words, and believed them even more. However, the evil thoughts in his mind suddenly sprouted, and his eyes lit up. He pretended to be curious. I heard that Guan Xian is quite close with someone called Lin Yi. Could he be Guan Xian's fiancé? Kang Mingming knew that Lin Yi couldn't be Guan Xian's fiancé, but he purposely said it to sow discord. Oh. Lin Yi? Guan Xiaoxiang's face was a little displeased. Lin Yi again? Was there really something between Guan Xian and Lin Yi? However, in front of Kang Mingming, Guan Xiaoxiang naturally wouldn't say anything about his daughter. He only said indifferently, you don't have to worry about that. Kang Mingming laughed coldly in his heart. Lin Yi. That's what you get for offending me. If I can't get a girl, don't even think about it. Humph. He didn't show it on his face. All right, Uncle Guan. If that's the case, then I'll take my leave. Then I won't be sending you off. Take care. Guan Xiaoxiang knew why Kang Mingming was here, so he didn't want to have anything to do with him. Chapter 859. She had to marry even if she didn't want to. The housekeeper, Nanny Lu, spent most of her time with Guan Xian and Guan Xuemin. Even though she was close to Guan Xiaoxiang when he was younger, they were still distant now. She turned a blind eye to Guan Xian's eavesdropping. When Guan Xian heard Kang Mingming tell her father that he wanted to be friends with her, her heart skipped a beat. She was afraid that her father would mistake Kang Ming for a handsome young man and agree to date her. Fortunately, her father was wise enough to reject Kang Ming. But her father's reason was so strange. He said that she had a fiancé, and that they were betrothed before they were born. Was there still such a thing as a prenatal betrothal in today's society? Wasn't this too strange? She didn't expect her father, who looked so old-fashioned, to have such a clever and eccentric side. Guan Xan thought it was funny. However, what made her happiest was that Kang Xiaoming actually believed her father's words and decided to give up on pursuing her. What an idiot. In fact, Guan Xan was wrong. In a big family like Kang Ming, it was natural for the parents to make the decision. Just like the marriage between her brother and the Xiao family's Wang Xinyan, it was decided by the elders. Once it was decided, the younger generation couldn't change it. So Kang Ming thought that Guan Xan was the same. So no matter what he did, he couldn't change it. He could only give up. When she heard that Kang Xiaoming was coming out, Guan Xan quickly sat on the sofa and pretended to watch TV as if nothing had happened. Kang Xiaoming opened the study room door and was pushed out by Wang Shubin. He looked at Guan Xan, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, and sighed helplessly. He knew that Guan Xan was a girl from a wealthy family. Since she was already engaged, how could she still be friends with him? So he didn't even bother to say anything. To him, if he couldn't get a girl, it didn't matter how pretty she was. So he asked Wang Shubin to push him out of Guan Xueming's mansion and left the place with his tail between his legs. Guan Xan, on the other hand, blushed when she saw her father walk out of the study. She had eavesdropped on his conversation with Kang Ming after all. It wasn't a big deal, but it wasn't something to be proud of. Guan Xan felt a little embarrassed when she saw her father looking at her. She hadn't done anything bad, so she took the initiative to admit what she'd done. Dad, that Kang Ming was lying, I didn't nurse him. Oh. Did you hear everything? Guan Xiaoxiang didn't expect his daughter to eavesdrop. Seeing her blushing face, he nodded in understanding. This person doesn't look like a good person. Don't come into contact with him in the future. I know, I don't even talk to him. Guan Xan said. He's the one who keeps pestering me, and that Lin Yi, you need to stay away from him in the future. Don't get too close to him. You are a girl, you need to take care of your reputation. Guan Xiaoxiang thought of Lin Yi and added. He had always been biased against Lin Yi. Ever since Lin Yi and Guan Xueming formed the company, Guan Xiaoxiang hated Lin Yi a little. Lin Yi is a good person, he's not a bad person. He's different from Kang Ming. Guan Xan froze and shook her head. She didn't understand why her father wouldn't let go of Lin Yi. I told you, you are a girl, you need to watch your image. Guan Xiaoxiang said seriously. Plus, you have an engagement. If any rumors spread, it won't be good for your reputation. It was the first time Guan Xiaoxiang used such a strict and unquestionable tone to talk to Guan Xan. Guan Xan froze and looked at Guan Xiaoxiang suspiciously. Dad, what engagement are you talking about? Isn't that an excuse to trick Kang Ming into giving up? How did I get engaged? That's not an excuse. Guan Xiaoxiang waved his hand. Xan, you're not young anymore. It's time to tell you about this. Actually, before you were born, your mom and I had arranged a marriage for you. Now that you're all grown up, it's fine to tell you about this. How can I do that? Guan Xan didn't know what to do after listening to her father's words. The news was too shocking for her. She never thought that she was already engaged, and now she had a fiancé out of nowhere. Why not? It's always been like this since ancient times. Guan Xiaoxiang didn't think that his usually docile daughter would question him. His brows furrowed even deeper. Could there really be something going on between his daughter and that Lin Yi? Dad, what era is this? Why do we have to arrange a marriage? I've never even met the person you're talking about, how can I marry him? Plus, it's been so many years, how can it still count? Can you reject it for me? Guan Xian couldn't believe it. She couldn't accept it. Reject what? You can't reject it. Guan Xiaoxiang didn't give her any leeway. You have to marry him in the future. No one can change that. I'm not marrying him. This was the first time that Guan Xian, who had always been a good girl, vehemently refuted her father's suggestion. This was related to her lifelong happiness. How could she compromise? You have to marry him even if you don't want to. Guan Xiaoxiang snorted coldly. He was getting a little angry. I'm in charge of this. Whatever you say is useless. Why should I? I've never met him, I don't even know what he looks like or what he does. Why should I marry him? Guan Xian's eyes widened. I'm not marrying him. I don't even like him. If you don't like him, then who do you like? Guan Xiaoxiang retorted. I just don't like him. Guan Xian almost spilled the beans. She blushed and stopped herself. You like that Lin Yi, don't you? Guan Xiaoxiang, of course, knew what his daughter was thinking. You should cut all ties with him as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll find someone to break his legs. Your mother and I agreed on your marriage. I owe him a lot. My career today was all given to me by his elders. I, Guan Xiaoxiang, am not someone who goes back on his word. It's good if you've thought it through. Even if you don't, you still have to marry him. With that, Guan Xiaoxiang ignored Guan Xian. He stood up and strode out of the villa. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.